I'm Pam Puso. The White House is pushing back against repeated calls from Democrats for a special prosecutor to investigate Russia's alleged interference in the election and any ties the Trump campaign may have had with the Kremlin. White House spokesman Sean Spicer maintains there's no need since two congressional committees and the FBI under Acting Director Andrew McCabe are investigating.
Acting Director McCabe said last week he made it very clear that they have the resources that they need and that the work continues.
Moments ago on the Senate floor, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer made the case for a special prosecutor, saying the administration must be held accountable for any abuse of its powers. Amid the search for a new FBI director to replace James Comey, the Deputy Attorney General who recommended that Comey be let go plans to brief the entire Senate on Thursday. President Trump has said he could name a nominee by Friday and would have dismissed Comey regardless of Rod Rosenstein's recommendation. Some advice from the White House. Keep your computer software current. This as the government closely monitors a worldwide cyber attack. Fox's Jared Halpern is live in Washington.
The malware infecting hundreds of thousands of computers around the world is in the wild, but White House Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert says has not infiltrated U.S. government systems.
Overall, the U.S. infection rate has been lower than many parts of the world, but we may still see significant impacts in additional networks as these malware attacks morph and change.
FedEx is among the U.S. companies hit that locks up computers with a demand of ransom. Bossert is urging Americans to make sure computers are updated with the latest patches to prevent the malware attack. Pam.
Thanks, Jared. At the closing bell on Wall Street, the Dow is up 85 points. The NASDAQ and the S&P setting new records. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SC was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone remembers the first time they saw one, and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury, the unparalleled safety, the performance, and the style Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event going on now through May 31st, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
New sanctions against North Korea could be imposed once the UN Security Council meets tomorrow on the regime's latest missile launch.
North Korea releasing photos of a fiery rocket launch, saying it was a long-range missile designed to carry a heavy nuclear warhead.
Fox's Alistair Wanklin in our Asia Bureau. China is wary of piling on economic pressure that could cause North Korea's collapse. The overnight fire that ravaged a home in Ohio has left 7 people dead.
Police in Akron confirm that 5 children ranging in age from teenagers to babies and 2 adults were killed overnight in a house fire on Akron's southwest side, with neighbors who knew the family in disbelief.
These houses, it don't take a long time for them to, catch on fire and be fully engulfed. And that's a sad, feeling. It is scary because I got small children.
Akron Fire says right now there's no cause. They are not ruling out arson, as they also focus in on the front porch area of this home, where it's believed the fire began. They're also calling on community support on behalf of the 7 family members killed. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Police in Maryland say a car that tried to pass a bus carrying school kids on a highway in northeast Maryland clipped the bus, causing it to flip over.
The bus was traveling along I-95 near Havre de Grace at the time of the accident. 1 child and 1 adult of the dozens on board were seriously injured and airlifted to hospitals. Others were taken by ambulances.
Fox's Gernal Scott, 26 8th graders from Pennsylvania were on a field trip to Washington, D.C. 2 teachers and a parent chaperone were also on board. This just in, there's been a small plane crash in New Jersey, in suburban New York City near Teterboro Airport. Fox affiliate WNYW confirming the plane crashed into a building. Multiple buildings are on fire. Pam Puso, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you cool all spring and summer. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Feeling like summer. Tonight, clear, low of 62. Tuesday, mostly sunny, high 86, a low of 68. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 85, a low of 67. Have mostly dry week ahead and sunny and warm. That's what it is right now. Sunny, clear, 86 in Champaign-Urbana.
Another week of the Tay and J Show. We're off and rolling. Lante, Jeremy Warner. Fun weekend of baseball for the Cardinals and Cubs. Cubs did take one, but of course the Cardinals get it done, winning 2 of 3. They continue to be on fire since that 3-9 start to the season.
Yeah, this rivalry's ratcheted up a little bit.
It's going to be a fun summer.
Isn't it? We'll talk about that with Mike Claiborne, KMOX and Cardinals broadcast crew at 4:05. And Sahadav Sharma, the Athletic. He'll talk some Cubs at 4:30. We'll also talk about a big weekend in Illini sports, including Illini men's tennis advancing to the Sweet 16, coming back down from 3-0.
Improbable.
To beat Oklahoma State, the host, 4-3. They move on to the Sweet 16. This felt like a year they wouldn't make the Sweet 16, but we'll talk to Brad Dancer at 5:25. Softball earns its second straight NCAA bid. Had a heartbreaker to Minnesota over the weekend, but then men's golf started their NCAA regional, tied for second right now,
Awesome.
1 stroke off the lead. So a lot to talk about, but we mentioned the Cubs and Cardinals rivalry being ratcheted up a couple notches the last couple of years.
I know where you're going here.
Well, this Illinois-Missouri basketball thing, it's going to be a little bit different than last year. I'm at the bragging rights game.
Yes.
There's, 8,000 people there?
Unbelievable.
I would say 7,500 of them are Illinois fans. Right. The upper bowl, there's hardly anyone in there. That's not going to be the case next year because Missouri made a really good hire for them.
Yes, they did.
Illinois made a really good hire for them. But right now, when it comes to just recruiting, Conzo Martin's doing a heck of a job right now because you got Michael Porter Jr., the number 1 recruit in the country, and it finally was announced today.
Wow.
We've been waiting and waiting. Yes, Jeremiah Tillman is with Missouri. They announced that he has joined the team.
You know when you get on one of those roller coasters and it says it takes you from 0 to 100 in like 5 seconds or 3 seconds? That's what Missouri's done, their basketball program, because that thing was as low as you could get. And blast in the SEC 4 straight years. They get rid of Coach Kim Anderson. They hire Conzo, and he has immediately put a lot of fire into that program, and at the expense of Illinois with regards to Jeremiah Tillman. So we finally know, and I think this was a bad kept secret. However, really, we honestly weren't quite sure.
And you're wondering
if you put the odds on it, you'd put Missouri, but it's like, we don't know.
You're wondering why it took so long.
Yes.
Because it's obvious they were the ones involved.
Yes.
People thought Kansas and North Carolina may have sniffed around. SLU didn't even really seem that interested.
No, that's weird.
Because SLU has drawn enough
they have
attention to themselves. If they would have gone Jeremiah Tillman, it's like, Travis Ford, slow it down a little bit.
What are you doing down there at SLU?
I wonder if that's the case for Missouri, where they're like, hey, let's wait a little bit for this. But no, Jeremiah Tillman, that's a big ad for that team.
It is huge.
To a team that has Michael Porter Jr. It's going to be a fun game next year. It's going to be a fun atmosphere next year. Jeremiah is going to draw. He's a young man.
Right.
The way he handled this.
Right.
He's going to draw a lot of criticism when he's down there.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
You put a target on your back.
Yep.
I hope Illini fans do it in a sports mad kind of way.
Exactly.
As opposed to a nasty kind of way that the Eric Gordon thing was handled over here. But if you want to yell, boo him, that's fine.
Do what you want.
He's a young man.
I agree.
He brought a lot of this, attention to himself.
He did.
But he is a young man.
Yes.
That just picked a school. But this is going to be fun to watch the next 5 years.
Yes, it is.
Because Michael Porter Jr. is going to be there a year.
Mm-hmm.
If the one and done thing was not a rule, he would not be going to school.
Right.
But he's going to Mizzou because Conzo hired his dad, and he's from Columbia originally.
Yeah, right.
So it makes sense a little bit. In Missouri, this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to create excitement around their program, and they did that. They weren't able to land Kevin Knox, who went to Kentucky, another 5-star kid, but landed a couple other recruits. They've created initial excitement.
Exactly.
will it last?
Right, that's the key.
And that's the thing with Konzo, right? Everywhere he's been, he's created some initial excitement, then he gets out of Dodge. Well, Missouri's got a 7-year contract. Can he sustain it? That's what's going to be interesting for me. And then on the flip side, for Brad Underwood, we know he can coach.
Yes, we do.
If I'm picking between those two, I'm putting stock in Brad Underwood, given how good of a coach he is. And the fact that he landed Mark Smith, that's big. But early on, there's not as much buzz around his program, which we know it kind of feeds upon itself sometimes. But can he get momentum? But next year, both these teams, Missouri's really, really talented.
Yes, they are.
But really young.
Real young.
And pretty thin. Illinois is pretty thin right now, too. But at least they have some veterans. And then you add some guys like Mark Smith and Trent Frazier. This is going to be fun, this rivalry for the next 5 years. And Tillman obviously adds a lot to it. Because I think he should be there longer than a year. We'll see if he thinks he should be there longer than a year.
And who knows when that comes around, that saga with everything around his recruiting. But you're right. I mean, let's be honest. That bragging rights game last year was not even really watchable. And not even going into it were you interested in watching that game. And it's so ridiculous. Illinois had a small part in that, but Missouri was so bad. And now you ratchet it up, like you said, but with Tillman. And I'm interested to see the ire of Illinois fans. I don't feel as though there is as much ire. And I'll say this.
Not as much as Gordon.
Not as much as Gordon, not even close. The one thing, though, that is on Jeremiah's side here is that there was a change of a coach. So you can at least look at that and say, listen, the kid was going to come play for John Gross, whatever, Jamal Walker was the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he said that. He said that after the case, right?
But at least there's a built-in excuse.
While it was going on,
right?
He was saying, if Jamal's there, I'm there.
Yes.
No, it's a kid.
It is.
Saying it.
He's saying he's trying to say the right thing.
He lied about that.
He totally did.
And obviously there's some family dynamic that's going about it. We talked about that with Derek last week. But, yeah, I mean, it's a kid making a decision, but there was a coaching change, unlike Eric Gordon.
Right. And what hurts a little bit for Illinois is, and you'll maybe see this exposed next year at that game exactly, is the inside and the defensive side and what Jeremiah Tillman could have brought Illinois and the fact that you had a 5-star guy signed. And then he decides to not only skip out, but then to go down to one of your rivals, and now you're going to face him every year. Count me in as a guy that's excited for that. Whenever that is, December 22nd or whatever it is.
As a non-Illinois fan.
Put it on a Saturday night.
As a non-fan.
Yes.
I love that this happened today.
Oh.
I mean, just think about how much excitement is going to be involved in this game now.
I can't wait for this game.
If Tillman goes to Kansas.
Yep.
There's not much to that for us around here.
There's not.
All right, see you, Cliff. Right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's how it would be. But now that he's at Missouri, the fact that Gordon went to Indiana was the reason, right? It's Indiana.
Yes.
It's Kelvin
Hired
Sampson.
His AAU coach.
Yes.
Everything
and now
about
you can't
it.
do that anymore, right? You can't even do that anymore.
So there is that little built-in, which should be a lot of fun come that game. And you're right. I mean, that's going to count me in as a guy, again, that is so excited for this game. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how good Tillman is.
And what I mean is they hired their AAU coaches like some support staffer.
Right. You can't
do
that
as an assistant coach.
Yes.
But if it's a sports staffer, you got to wait like 2 years until you can.
So like Shane Hireman obviously was able to be hired by DePaul, but he has to be an assistant coach. And then the other thing is you throw in the Mark Smith piece, who's from around that area, who's friends with Jeremiah Tillman, who got the better of Jeremiah Tillman this year on the basketball court.
Is there any doubt who you'd rather have?
No, not at all. Not at all with regards to that. So this is going to be fun. I mean, listen, I love my summer. And I want summer to creep along, but man, I would fast forward to December soon if I knew how exciting this game could be and the uptick to this game leading up to it. And of course, we don't even know yet what Illinois roster, what it's going to be. Yeah. And that's another thing that we're hoping to find and, get some pieces in place. I know they had a couple of big visitors last week, and we'll wait to hear that news.
Mark Allstork sounds like, I think he Snapchatted that he's going to make his decision March 20th.
Okay.
So I think that's Saturday.
Not March 20th.
Not March, May.
May
20th.
Yeah.
Starts with
I was
an M.
like, do we have to wait till next year for that?
May 20th. So I think that's the big target, obviously, the most talented grad transfer they're going after. And then Akoya Gao was at Georgetown over the weekend. Here's what Brad Underwood said today on the College Hoops Today podcast with John Rothstein of FanRag Sports. He said, I think we should be an NCAA tournament team next year. I like our pieces and I like our toughness and grit. I think Mark Smith, who we just signed, has a chance to be one of the best freshmen in the country. We should be right there in the middle of things in the Big Ten.
Interesting.
Do you think he believes that?
I think he does.
I think he believes they should be, like he said, in the middle of the Big Ten. I think that means between 6 and 10.
Yes.
I'd go towards the bottom of that.
Okay.
Because of the unknowns, the youth. But there is something to work with. The perimeter, I feel comfortable 1 through 4.
Very.
And if you add Allstork to that, I feel great about your 1 through 4. It's just you need another 5. You need a guy,
especially on that
who
defensive
can protect the rim. Now, I think you can still win a lot of games.
Sure.
If you're that good on the perimeter, because you can force turnovers, you can force your pace, and Illinois' got some depth at those positions. I think he's saying, build confidence in his team, too, because
I agree.
They haven't done it in 4 years.
And
none of these guys have been there.
No, none of them have been to the NCAA tournament. If that is what he's doing, I like his ammo. And if you're a guy that has coached 4 years at Stephen F. Austin and 1 year at Oklahoma State, and you inherited, or 3 years at Stephen F., and then you inherited an Oklahoma State team that was 12-20, and you got them to the tournament after Stephen F. Austin to the tournament every year you're there, why wouldn't he have confidence that he can come and lead Illinois to an NCAA tournament? Maybe it's not as hard as we think. Maybe John Gross, maybe Bruce Weber at the end, and John Gross the last 5 years.
The best thing you've said in a long time. Maybe it's not that hard, because you know what?
Not.
All you got to be is a top 8, top 9 Big Ten team.
I mean, I remember, I do remember when it was so common, and you think to yourself, how difficult did we make this the last 5 or 6 years?
Even Bruce Weber's had some ugly years. 2007? Remember that year?
Yes.
They still made the NCAA tournament. Should have won the game against Virginia Tech.
They were
Damn
up 10.
that Warren Carter.
Get rid of him. Oh, wait. Yeah, you were up 10 in that game, right? I agree, and I think that is... I think that might be the best thing I've ever said. Maybe it's just not that hard to make the tournament.
It's
John
really
Gross
not.
And
when
this
you're
staff
a Power
made
5
it.
team,
it's not.
Really not that
it's not.
hard.
And in a Big Ten that I really don't know yet, it seems like it's going to be Michigan State and the rest of the teams. And Indiana's down. I think Wisconsin will be Wisconsin.
Who you buying more right now, Indiana or Illinois?
Illinois.
I agree with you.
I'm buying Illinois now. I really, really am, especially after Blackman took off, even though maybe with him in out of there, it seems that they do better with him out of there. They were better when he was injured that year with Yogi Ferrell. But, really, when you look at the Big Ten, I know Minnesota will be good again. Michigan State is out of this world. They'll be out of this world in the Big Ten if Swanigan comes back to Purdue.
And the reason I say that with Indiana is because they lose Blackman.
Yes.
They lose Anobi, and they lose Bryant. Those are 3 best players.
Huge. And who knows what they're coming in.
They're not bringing in some stud class.
Exactly.
They got some nice players, Clifton Moore and Justin Smith.
I think Archie Miller's going to have to coach. He's going to, and he can coach. He knows how to do that. So it will be interesting to gauge and follow along. Kind of the teams Tillman was interested in for a while. Illinois, Indiana, and Missouri. It'll be interesting to follow along and see how those schools do. Northwestern will be better. So yes, it's going to be hard, but maybe Brad Underwood is that confident that what he has and with his offense that he can put it together.
And then Ohio State.
Oh, wow.
Jaquan Lyle leaves.
He's gone.
Man, that Thad Matta tree didn't get much out of that kid, huh?
It didn't. Wow.
He decommits from Louisville, which opens up the spot for Quentin Snyder. And John Gross goes, really? And then Thad Matta, he wasn't worth it.
No, he wasn't.
He could carry you, but he also killed you.
Correct.
He's kind of like James Blackman a little bit in that way.
He was a kid that almost had a triple-double the game before they played Illinois last year or 2 years ago. I would have been last year, right? And I remember thinking to myself, not this last season, but 2 seasons ago, thinking there's no way we're going to be able to stop him. And he got his points here, but for the most part, Illinois was able to shut him down, and Illinois won that game.
I think Illinois would be better in Indiana. I think they'll be better in Ohio State.
Yes. Iowa.
Rutgers.
Be close. Yeah, Rutgers better.
Iowa will be close. Nebraska, they'll be better.
Yes.
So that
puts teams right
puts
there.
you in that 8, 9, 10 range.
Yeah.
And I think the Big Ten's weaker at the bottom now.
I do too.
They got one stud team at the top. I think Michigan's going to be really good.
Yep.
I can't doubt Turgeon anymore.
No
matter who
not
they
at
lose,
all.
I'm not going to doubt Turgeon and the talent he brings in.
Because he's bringing it in.
Minnesota and Northwestern lose nothing. Penn State loses nothing. I think Penn State and Illinois kind of in that same mix. Purdue should be good.
Yes.
But if they lose Swanigan, that's a huge loss.
Blow.
I think the teams that can threaten Michigan State, if any, are probably Michigan.
Yep.
Minnesota.
And if Purdue gets Swanigan back, I think they're going to have a lot of what they had last year.
I don't think he's coming back.
I don't either.
And then Wisconsin, they're just Wisconsin.
Well, they'll figure out a way to be good.
There's some room.
Yes, there is.
There's some room in there.
I love it, man.
I mean, if some of these guys, and especially if Michigan doesn't get those big guys back, I think they'll both be back. But then they weaken.
Yes, they do. Because Mo Wagner, by the end of the year, was ridiculous.
But Illinois needs more than 9 players.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And we'll figure that out. I know All-Stork, it seemed like he had a good visit.
Well. I think they did really well at that All-Stork visit. Agao is visiting Georgetown, he's coming from Georgetown. He's visiting SMU, I should have said.
SMU, okay.
All-Stork went to Georgetown for a visit.
That is funny, because at first I was like, wait a minute, isn't he from Georgetown?
At SMU.
But I knew what you were saying, yeah.
He visited SMU, and they're a big threat.
Okay.
I think it's SMU or Illinois.
How funny that all of a sudden SMU is a school that's grabbed like 2 or 3 guys that we've wanted.
Jane can coach, man.
Yeah, he can.
He can recruit, too.
Yes, he can. SMU's back on the map, and they've cost Illinois a couple of recruits.
The Cardinals take 2 of 3 from the Cubs. Man, those Cardinals just cardinalling.
Chris and Muhammad just texted in, the magic number for the Cards is getting closer. Have a good one, guys.
3.5 game lead over the 4th place Cubs, who are 17-18.
Weird.
I'm not worried yet.
I'm not worried about the 3.5. I'm not even making any big deal of it. It's just weird to have the Cubs where they are now and the way they're playing.
But Cubs fans, I'll throw this out there.
Okay.
When do you get worried, and what is your biggest worry? You can weigh in at 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. You can call us on the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line, or better yet, you can text us on the Cheap Hour text line. Same number, 359-2255. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. I tweet at J Warner Scout.
At Lon Tay, ESPNCU.
You can download the WSJK app. Just search WSJK in your app marketplace. Get the podcast at ESPNCU.com or find us on iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. You can watch us live on YouTube. Just search Tay and J Show. And our intern today, he brought more sweets.
He did?
Harry Black. It's some pecan and brownie concoction.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to hit that next. I guess as soon as I take a break, I'm going in to eat some pecan and whatever it is. I cannot wait. All right, if you want to weigh in again, as Jeremy said, 359-2255. It is the Tay and J Show.
Your business is our business. From appropriate lending strategies to retirement plans for employees, Busey will help navigate your financial challenges. With experience working with a variety of industries, Busey has innovative ideas and proactive solutions to help meet your needs and reach your goals. For a top partner for your bottom line, call 1-800-67-BUSEY or visit Busey.com. Busey, your dream, our promise. Member FDIC.
If you're a pro, you know that this is not efficient, because you know there's always a better way. There's also a better way to save. When pros buy in bulk at Lowe's, they save up to 30%. Up to 30% on the building supplies you use every day, like insulation and drywall, which is a better way to do business. So at Lowe's, buy more, save more. Visit the Pro Desk or LowesForPros.com for details. Minimum purchase required for discount, U.S. only.
From buyers and sellers inspections before the sale, protect your future with AA Marshall Home Inspection Services. We also provide radon testing with results back in 48 hours. From Champaign to Savoy and Gifford to Gibson City, protect your future with AA Marshall Home Inspection Services. Get more details and schedule your inspection today at aamarshall.net.
Oh, hey, hi, hello there. It's me, your air conditioner. You can call me AC if you want, but Mr. Conditioner is my dad's name. Okay, listen, you may have noticed that I'm using a lot of energy right now, and that's why you need to call an expert. Yep, the experts can give me a precision tune-up, so you'll save up to 30% on energy bills, and I won't have to work so hard, which is great because I'm about to pass out.
At Chief Bauer Service Experts, save $41 off an AC Precision Tune-Up. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. For expert service guaranteed.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call Matex Heating and Cooling to take advantage of Train's Weather Any Season Sale. Weather Any Season Sale. Choose between special financing for 6 years or special trade-in allowances on qualifying Train systems. Call 355-9700 or visit us online at mattexservice.com for more information. It's hard to stop a train. Any season, any weather. Matex Heating and Cooling, servicing East Central Illinois.
Subject to credit approval. Call for details.
The party's on. The legendary voice of Motley Crue, Vince Neil. Performing all your favorite Motley Crue hits. Saturday night, May 20th at 8 at Effingham Performance Center. Vince Neil live. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, the UPC box office, or phone. Give it a kickstart with Vince Neil.
Need new tires? How would you like to save $200 on a set of 4 select Goodyear tires? Right now at CarX Tire and Auto, get up to $200 in savings when you purchase a set of 4 Goodyear tires and use the CarX Drive Card credit card. Your Champaign CarX man has the right tires for your vehicle at any of his 3 convenient locations. And now up to $200 off. Stop in, call, or schedule online at CarX.com.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
See store for details.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Give me some good news about Illinois golf.
3:25, I'm Jeremy Warner with your Sports Center update. The bragging rights game has ratcheted up a notch. Former Illinois signee Jeremiah Tillman, now a Missouri Tiger, the school announced today. 4-star center gives Missouri a top 10 recruiting class. It's highlighted by number 1 overall prospect Michael Porter Jr. Illinois, meanwhile, still has 4 scholarships remaining for 2017. It was a huge weekend for Illinois spring sports. Illinois softball earned its 2nd straight bid to the NCAA tournament, earning an at-large bid to the Kentucky Regional. Illinois will face Marshall at 11 a.m. on Friday. Kentucky and DePaul square off in the other first-round matchup of the double elimination bracket. Illinois men's tennis down 3-0 at Oklahoma State.
Unreal.
Against the Cowboys, and they come back and win it 4-3 to advance to the Sweet 16. Brad Dancer joins the Tay and J Show at 5:25. Illinois men's golf sits in a tie for 2nd place after the first of 3 rounds at the West Lafayette Regional, 1 stroke behind UNLV. Eduardo Liparelli led all Illini with a 4-under 68. Nick Hardy tied for 8th after shooting a 1-under 71. The top 5 teams after 3 rounds advances to the NCAA championships. Illinois has won the last 4 regionals they participate in. Illinois baseball lost 2 of 3 at Rutgers over the weekend. Now needs some help to make the Big Ten tournament. They're 2 games out of 8th place. Top 8 teams advance to the Big Ten tournament. They host Iowa in their season finale series. NBA, an ankle injury to Kawhi Leonard turned a Spurs blowout into a Warriors 113-111 win. That was in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Golden State outscored San Antonio 58-33 after Leonard left the game. In the East, the Cavs have been waiting 8 days to find out their foe in the conference finals. They'll finally find it out tonight as the Celtics host the Wizards for Game 7. It's pretty funny. Cleveland just sitting there doing nothing.
Just waiting. When you choke on water, you know you got issues in life. All right, Harry Black. Harry, get on the mic. This is unbelievable. Muhammad, our old intern, he used to just really woo us by bringing in food. He didn't make it, though. And then we had, Trish, right? Or Tish? Trish.
I always call her Tish.
I don't know why. I know a Tish.
I was going to say, whose name's Tish? I've never heard of a Tish.
No, there's a girl in Villa Grove named Tish. Okay. So I guess I always get those confused.
It's not a very common name, though.
It's not at all. So Trish used to make us, she would bake, and just unbelievable stuff.
I got to say, nothing like Harry.
What did you make today?
It's a pecan pie mixed with brownies. It's my first my own recipe that I wanted to try.
Oh, my.
How did you make this recipe?
I just made a graham cracker crust for the bottom, then got a brownie mix that I make because I have an extra, this stuff of cocoa powder that I don't use for anything else.
Okay.
And I figured, I'll put that in there and I'll undercook it. And then I put in pecan pie filling with pecans, which I wanted to lay on top, but it actually kind of sunk through because the brownies weren't
It's absolutely
cooked
fine.
through enough. But yeah.
What gave you the thought to mix brownies and pecan pie?
I was just going to make pecan pie kind of style brownies with no chocolate. And I was talking to my mom and because I wanted to know how to do this. She's like, you know what you should do? You should add a thin layer of brownie.
Look at that.
So, yeah, Mama Black coming through in the clutch.
I tell you what.
It's phenomenal.
Does she know that her son is this good at baking?
She knows that I like baking. She knows that I like cooking.
Dude.
Is this your passion in life, Harry? I think you found it.
Passion might be a bit strong, just like food. And
your
like to
wife
cook.
One day is going to be like, sweet. Harry's in the kitchen making me something else. That's awesome. Thank you. This stuff is excellent.
It's phenomenal.
It's really rich.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how many of these pieces I can eat today without getting.
I didn't become like a big time pecan pie guy. My brother liked it, and I'm like, I'll try it, and it changed my world.
Really, it's the only pie that I'll eat. I do not eat pie.
I mean, for a long time, I was kind of the the French silk when I went to Baker Square. If those are still around anymore, we went there all the time in high school. Apple pie, of course.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
My, pumpkin pie is solid, especially around the fall. But pecan pie.
Pecans are just something, or pecan, as Harry calls it. There's just something about that I really like. So, very good. Unfortunately for you listening, you can't have any. We get it all, which is wonderful here.
All right, so the Cardinals take 2 of 3. I want a quick Cardinals take because they're not the story of this weekend, in my opinion.
No, they're not.
It's the Cubs continuing to struggle. I will say what the Cardinals have done, have shown the Cubs, and I think they knew this.
Yes.
But it's not easy.
No, it's not.
And the Cubs could turn around, win 95 to 100 games, and win it all again. But early on, it's difficult sometimes to get back in that mindset of, well, we just finished in November. We're world champions.
Right.
Let's do it again, right?
Here we go.
It's not that easy.
It's not easy.
And that's what these first month and a half is kind of showing the Cubs. I don't know if they needed to know this, but it's difficult to win in baseball.
It's the one thing that has been the same tradition for St. Louis, since you and I have started the show. They have depth. I mean, they're bringing kids up like Sierra and Pham that have absolutely kickstarted an offense that was a little dormant, and their pitching has been unbelievable. Their starting pitching has been unbelievable, and that bullpen, minus Brett Cecil, has been lights out. Their holds, they've got a ton of holds. Their saves between O and Rosenthal has been lights out. Jerko has been everything you need in that 4-hole. They're starting to reach base. And again, these kids are getting it done. And Yadi Molina just continues to play at a level that blows my mind with his age, but he just continues to trot along. I mean, they're just getting contributions from everybody. And you know how it is, Jeremy, you're confident. They're confident right now as a team. They know that they're this good.
Well, and I think they're tired.
Going out and winning.
I think they're tired of the Cubs talk.
I agree.
Which they should be. I mean, you're competitors.
Yep.
You got less talent, elite talent on your team, but you're still a pretty dang good team. You want people to know about it, and they've been here before.
Yes, they have.
Right? They didn't just go, oh, the Cubs are going to win this thing.
Yeah, we're going to just lay back.
Let's go for a wild card, I guess.
Right.
No, I mean, these guys are competitors and did that, and they're executing. They're executing right now. Meanwhile, the Cubs aren't.
Nope.
They're banged up. I mean, over the weekend, of course, Bryant with the illness, and then you get Hayward's out, Zobrist and Russell and Jay all battling right now. That takes away some of that Cubs depth, and they have to bring up Ian Happ, who homers in his first at-bat, because that's what Cubs prospects do.
Absolutely they do.
And they have that depth, but that pitching staff continues to be a worry. Rizzo's having struggles. It seems like everybody's struggling at the same time. We're going to learn a lot more about this team over the next 10 games.
Right.
You got a 10-game homestand.
This is big.
And I don't care what the first two teams' records are. You're the Cubs.
Yep.
And you need to beat these two young, not very great rosters. And that's 3 against Cincinnati, 3 against Milwaukee, and then you get 4 against the worst team in baseball, basically, or at least the NL in San Francisco.
I laugh because we could be sitting here on June 15th and no longer talking about the Cubs because all of a sudden they've got a 6-game lead and everything's boring again in Cubs land because they're so good.
And that's why I asked, when do you worry?
Yeah, it's a fair question.
We'll talk about with Claves. It's probably Flag Day.
Yes.
It's like, okay, now you got a 2-month complete sample, which is 2/5 of the season, right? And then all of a sudden, okay, we have real issues. Let's go out and address them. Let's make this team a little bit better.
And I think the real worry is when you look at that pitching staff, and you brought that up as well, when you knew last year you had 3 guys that were going to go out and shut the door. And that was the top of the rotation with Lester and with Arrieta and with Hendricks. And you figured John Lackey would give you a good, solid bulldog approach, which he always did. And then you never knew kind of about that 5th spot. And now this year, when you look at it, you basically have Lester to fall back on. And that's it right now. Even Hendricks has been up and down. Arrieta's been bad. And
it's interesting because Arrieta,
Lackey and the 5th guy, they've been terrible.
Arrieta has had a lot of complete blowout starts, right? I mean, it's giving up 3, 4, and sometimes 5 runs.
Putting your team in a hole early.
Yeah, 7 straight games of 3+ runs.
Correct.
That's not like, when you compare it to the rest of pitching's down in baseball.
It totally is.
Offense is coming back.
I mean, the Cardinals' team ERA is really good, and it's only like 3.3.
I feel like there's 25 starters you feel great about every night.
Yes.
I still think Arrieta's a good starter.
I do too.
I don't think he's just a bad starter again. But I do think he's not elite anymore. I don't think he'll ever get back to that. And for him, it stinks because you got this big contract. It's a contract year for him. Hendricks, is he coming back down to earth a little bit?
right? The velocity's down. Velocity's down for Arrieta as well. Lester, I am not concerned about
Not
at
at
all.
all.
Some people have brought up the fact that David Ross is gone. Okay, maybe.
Well, if you got to be a professional
But
and figure out who you're pitching to.
I think the velocity's down for some of these guys. They had heavy workloads last year.
Sure.
Joe Madden was worried about that. They started spring training a little bit later.
They did.
So maybe they just needed a month of the season, and they'll turn it around after this. But also the Cubs' defense isn't as good.
It's not.
You know, Baez has had more errors. You don't have Dexter Fowler out in center field. And I know Almora's been really good. Jay's an okay defender.
He's decent.
If not below average.
Correct.
But at the top of that lineup,
yep.
you know, Fowler provided them a lot of consistency. And Schwarber, as much as I love getting him as many at-bats as possible, you know, he's got a good OBP, but that's just not the same as having a guy like Fowler. And if they had Fowler, he'd definitely be the leadoff
Without
guy.
a doubt.
So, you know, they've lost a little bit.
Yep.
They lose. I mean, Davis has been just as good as Chapman was
Yes,
before.
he
but
has.
it's a different team.
It is.
And now they got to figure out how to be successful. I have no doubts they will be successful
they will.
this year.
They will.
But this is going to be a battle now.
Right.
And the Cardinals, I think, have kind of showed that.
I think what's interesting, too, about the Cardinals is a guy like Dexter Fowler really hasn't gotten going. And, you know, now he's been hurt. He's kind of battling. I think his shoulder is still a little bit of an issue. So you may see Sierra up still for a while. And then when Piscotty comes
still
back.
loving you some Magnus
Oh,
Sierra?
man, that kid is unreal. My mom the other day was like, on Mother's Day, she's like, why would you ever take that young man out of the lineup? I'm like, I don't know. All he and Pham have done since they've come up is won. And the one game that Matheny took him out was the opener against the Cubs. They lost.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I get it. I get it why he's doing this. But, I'm excited as a Cardinal fan to still see that top of the order with Fowler and Diaz and Carp. If that does turn out to be what they can do all year.
Carpenter, man.
Oh, he's been unreal. But when Fowler really gets rolling, and I assume at some point this year he will get rolling like he was with the Cubs, that's going to make St. Louis even more dangerous at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get this pitching staff 2 or 3 run lead, this is a good pitching staff. And even Waino feels like he has learned something by slowing his curve down, which is interesting.
Does Sung Wan-Oh feel like the new Trevor Rosenthal and that he gets into trouble every game but gets out of it?
I think Rosie is sitting there
Those
going,
last 2 have been great, man.
It has.
I know O's getting in trouble, but he's getting the job done.
He's getting it done, and then Rosenthal's coming in throwing 100.
It's been great.
And he threw 5 straight changeups to Rizzo. 5 straight changeups from Rosenthal. When did we ever think Trevor Rosenthal could not only throw a changeup across for a strike, but throw 5 straight and have the confidence to do it? So it's almost as though he's healthy now and he's learned how to pitch a little bit more than just go out and throw, and that's going to help the Cardinals.
Rizzo's got a 734 OPS.
It's crazy.
That's not very good.
No. I mean,
again, I'm not concerned about
I'm
it.
not either.
Because he's so good.
You're just waiting for him to take off.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, all of a sudden you get Schwarber, Bryant, and Rizzo all on a hot streak, or all just playing their normal selves.
They'll go 9-1 on this 10-game homestand if those guys do that.
I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, you are talented and over 162 game, sample size.
Yep.
You should be a 90 to 100 win team.
And a lot of times it's just getting it done against the teams you should. And I'll give credit for the Cardinals for doing that. They got it done.
We got a lot of people telling us, well, they have a weak schedule. Well, they're 21-15.
That's exactly.
They're getting it done right now. The Cubs, I know they have had a tougher schedule. Now these next 10 days,
that's right.
Prove it, because you can tell me all about Cincinnati, Milwaukee's record. Come on.
No, they're not that good. You got to beat them. Yeah. You've got to win those. And the Cardinals, when they started the season, they had to play that series. They went 3 against the Cubs, 3 against the Nationals, 3 against the Yankees. And they went 3-9, and then they had 3. I think they had a hiccup against the Brewers 2 out of 3. But when you look at that, and I even told you, I think when they were 3-9, I'm like, well, look, this hasn't been the easiest schedule yet. When you're going to the Bronx, you're playing at Washington, and of course the Cubs, who were the defending champs, at home to lose 2 or 3 there. So the Cardinals took advantage. The one thing the Cardinals did do is they went on the road to Atlanta, on the road to Florida, and swept those teams and really got things rolling, including a sweep against the Pirates at home. So you're rolling, and now you take 2 or 3 from the Cubs. I think that's the first time in 5 series that you've beaten the Cubs. So you get that on your side, and now you just get a little momentum. We'll see how the Cardinals, we'll see if they can continue this forward.
What do you think of Adam Wainwright last night?
I thought it was encouraging. Obviously, I'm still not sold on Waino. And I know Waino came out and said, I know a lot of you guys either want me gone or you think that I shouldn't be starting. You know, I thought it was funny how he said that. But, you know, it seems
That's really
like
passive-aggressive.
It really is. And it seems like he's found he basically said he watched another pitcher. I read an article today that he watched another pitcher that was slowing his curve down. So he and Mike Leake had a conversation, and Waino said, I'm going to try that. So he has slowed his curve like by 5 or 6 miles an hour, which just to be able to do that, you know, you're a professional pitcher, and it's been effective, and it was effective against the Cubs. I'm still not sold on Adam Wainwright going out and shutting people down for 6-7 innings like he did against Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, 5 of his 8 starts, he's given up 4 or more earned runs.
Yeah, he's their 5th best starter. I mean,
and if he's your 5th starter,
then you're in good shape.
I'm cool with that.
You're in good shape.
Right.
Lance Lynn is doing well. Mike Leake's doing well. Of course, Pedro. Carlos is doing well, and I'm missing somebody in there, Owaka, who they skipped a start. But, yeah, I think the Cardinals are fine, and I think, like you said, this summer is going to be a fun one to watch between the Cubs and Cardinals.
Yeah,
and they set all sorts of attendance records down in St. Louis.
I think that shows it, right?
Yes, it does.
The Cardinals fans finally showed up.
Yep, and the Cubs fans were there, too, in masses, so that's what's fun about it, and I saw Mike Claiborne tweet about that. I think Claibs, he and Shannon do that show every Friday night, and they had Joe Madden over Friday. And
awesome.
Claibs was in a good mood because I woke up Saturday morning bright and early, like at 5:30 a.m., and Claibs had tweeted out about 3 hours earlier. So I did the math, and he said, I am so excited to have guys like Mike Shannon and Joe Madden. So you could tell he was fired up after that show. So really cool stuff. Can't wait to ask Mike about that.
Claibs will join us at 4:05. We're going to move up Sahadev Sharma a little bit from The Athletic. He's going to join us next to talk about the Cubs.
All right, can't wait to do it. It is the Tay and J Show.
Protect your future with AA Marshall Home Inspection Services. Buyer's inspection with a buyback guarantee and seller's inspection. No surprises before closing. Owned by me, Aaron Allenbaugh, and my wife Kim, and serving all of East Central Illinois. Get more details and schedule your inspection today at aamarshall.net.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Join the Prairie Lands Council for their 2017 Distinguished Citizens Dinner, this year honoring the Atkins family. Wednesday, May 17th at Stone Creek Golf Club. Don't miss this fun evening with heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks, along with a wonderful program and awards presentation. Tickets for this event honoring 2017 Distinguished Citizens are on sale now. Support Scouting. $250 per person or $400 per couple. Buy tickets today by calling 531-0218. That's 531-0218.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hey, mosquitoes can be a nuisance, but after a mild winter like we had, they're even worse. Let Prairie View Landscaping get rid of those pesky mosquitoes so you can enjoy the summer outdoors without bugs getting in the way. And since it's Prairie View Landscaping's 25th year in business, they're celebrating by offering up to 25% off mosquito program. You can email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Take advantage of 25% off their mosquito program. And if you sign up by May 31st, you can win 2 free mosquito control applications out of 4. So half of the work will be done for free by Prairie View Landscaping. Again, email them, Prairie View Landscaping. It's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. All right, it's the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lon Tay, Jeremy Warner. Talked all about the St. Louis Cardinals taking 2 of 3 from those Chicago Cubs down at Busch Stadium. They'll meet plenty of times this year, especially up at Wrigley soon. That will be fun to get that rolling along. And we talked all about both squads, the Cardinals and Cubbies. And we're going to hear from Mike Claiborne, get the Cardinals side of things. KMOX Cardinal broadcast crew will talk to him at 4:05.
If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Also a big weekend for Illini spring sports. Tennis comes back from a 3-0 deficit to upset Oklahoma State. They advance to the Sweet 16.
So cool.
Softball earns their second straight NCAA bid. They'll play in the Lexington Regional, hoping to get a couple of the softball girls in this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we missed them a couple weeks ago, so
Awesome.
hoping to get them in here. And men's golf started their NCAA Regional today. Eduardo Liparelli
Unreal.
had one heck of a front nine, was 6 under.
He shot 30.
Yeah.
Shot 30 on the front.
It was unbelievable. So a great start for Eduardo Liparelli. He's now 4 under, tied for third. And Nick Hardy had a good day as well. He's in the top 10. You know who struggled today that I don't worry about? And you kind of look at the thing, you're like, it's going to work out for Illinois.
Meyer.
Yeah. Dylan Meyer's like tied for 32nd.
Yeah. So,
that's
tomorrow.
That's probably not going to end that way.
That's why Illinois every year is so good, because they have so many guys that can jump up and have a big day, and Liparelli did that. Had an eagle on that front nine.
Basically, what you look at is how far ahead are they of 6th place?
Yes.
And right now they're 4 strokes ahead.
Okay.
That's a good start.
It is.
'Cause they'll probably separate even further when you have depth. Those 3-4 guys are so much better than the other teams.
Without a
3 or 4
doubt.
guys.
Without a doubt. And they're playing that over in West Lafayette. If you get a chance and you have time the next, maybe tomorrow, beautiful weather, zip over to West Lafayette and watch that. I mean, this is a perfect time for Illinois fans to catch a glimpse of this Illini golf team. All right, it's time to head the Jupiter's the Crossing phone line. We talk some Cardinals. We're going to chat Cardinals with Mike Claiborne. But right now, let's look at the Cubs with Sahadev Sharma from The Athletic. How are you, Sahadev?
I'm doing great, guys. I guess I'm doing better than most Cubs fans and the Cubs themselves of late.
Right. Everybody's in panic mode almost.
Yeah, Sahadev, what's your biggest takeaway so far? I mean, through 35 games, they're 1 game under 500. What's your biggest takeaway from this?
There's 2 things that stand out to me. It's the starting pitching, which I think everybody's noticed. 6 weeks in, it's not even close to what it was last year, and then the defense, primarily the outfield defense. At first blush, you think, why is it worse? And then you think about it, and it's pretty clear why it's worse. I mean, you have Kyle Schwarber in left, who we knew would struggle, but you thought Almora and Hayward would pick him up. The reality is Almora and Hayward aren't playing every day, and it's not necessarily a bad thing because you have good depth. But those guys, John Jay, Ben Zobrist, they're not great defenders when you put Jay in center, when you put Zobrist in right field. That's a huge downgrade from Almora and Hayward. And we're seeing the fact that Hayward's on the DL and that a lot of these guys need playing time kind of sting the Cubs in a different way, kind of an unexpected way. I just didn't think it would be that big of a downgrade defensively, but so far it has been. And the numbers say that Almora hasn't been as great as what he can be. And I think that will definitely change. I don't know the answer to the other 2 guys, Jay and Zobrist, getting playing time, deserving playing time, but also hurting the defense there. I don't know how you really fix that outside of making sure that Almora and Hayward get majority of the playing time in those spots.
Now, Sahadev, I'm a Cardinals fan, so I'm not supposed to like watching any of these Cubs, but Anthony Rizzo, I mean, you can't help but watch him and just enjoy everything about him. But what are pitchers doing to actually get this guy out?
He goes through slumps every once in a while. You jam him in enough, and he'll start. He struggles with that pitch every once in a while if it doesn't hit him. That is, but so there are ways to get him out. Sometimes he starts chasing. It's just little things, and the shift will bite him, and it all adds up. And he's the type of guy that will go in like a 3-week funk. I think it may be a little bit longer than that for him right now, but it's around that point where he usually turns it around. These guys just go in little slumps. Sure. Most of them. There's very few guys that don't, but it almost always happens with Rizzo, where right around the time where you're like, okay, he better turn it around, otherwise this is going to be something that we need to talk about, is usually when Rizzo turns it around, right? For the past 2-3 years, we've seen it. It happens like clockwork. Until it goes 6 weeks of him struggling, I try not to get too worried about it because he started off kind of slow, and then he got super hot, and now he's just in a cold stretch. And unfortunately, it's happening with everyone in a cold stretch, and a bunch of guys hurt too. So it makes it extra ugly.
Yeah, the offense I don't worry about nearly as much as those two other areas you brought up, Saadav, and the pitching. Arrieta's in a contract year. I feel bad for him if it continues this way. It still feels like he's a solid pitcher, but are you concerned more about him, Hendricks, Lackey, or that fifth spot?
Okay, so in order of least concern for me, I'm not concerned about Lester. I really like what I've seen from Hendricks of late. Even though the velocity's not there, he's able to command the fastball. The velocity's slowly ticking up. If he doesn't get back to 88, 89, maybe he's not the dominant Hendricks, but if he just stays where he is and has that command and can still get by with the secondaries, I'm fine with what he is if the other guys step up. Lackey, I think he is what he is. I'd like to see a fewer blow-up innings, but I also think he puts together some really nice starts, and he still can give you quality innings. Arrieta is probably where my concern lies outside of the fifth starter spot. And the reality is it's a little weird because everyone's focused on his velocity. I'm not sure if this is velocity rated, but he's not getting ground balls like he used to.
Right.
A lot of balls in the air, and we just talk about that outfield defense. You combine all that together, and now it doesn't lead to good things. I mean, you go back to last week in Colorado, he was trying to get out of a jam, induces a weak pop-up, bases are loaded, and it leads to Schwarber, diving for a ball that he probably should have let Almora try and get, and it falls for a hit, and now, a game that was close and maybe Arrieta goes a few more innings, it turns into a blowout. So it's little things like that kind of sum up the season so far, I feel like. Things just not going their way. Arrieta and Madden were adamant yesterday that he had great stuff. I think Montero said the same, and Montero's not one to lie. Montero's not going to just cover up a bad performance. They all felt the stuff was good, a couple bad pitches, and they hit the mistakes. I still want to see more ground balls out of Arrieta. And then the fifth starter spot, hey, let's see what Eddie Butler can do, I guess. I'll take that first step and go from there with him.
Follow Sahadev Sharma on Twitter at Sahadev Sharma. Ian Happ gets a cup of coffee.
Right.
How long do you think this is? And is there any way this could be a long-term thing for him?
I guess it could be. The Cubs aren't the type of team that are going to hold back someone that can help them win. Now, the question then becomes, does he start playing over Javi or Zobrist because those guys are struggling? What happens when Hayward comes back, which should be midweek sometime? When they start getting healthy and Bryant's out there and Hayward's out there, then you have to start wondering where this guy plays. When Zobrist is 100%, you don't want him to be sitting on the bench, of course, but if he's ready to be in the big leagues, maybe they'll just say we have to find a way to play him on a regular basis. This team has done it before. We've said, well, he has to go back down. There's nowhere to play him, and guys just force themselves onto the roster. You'd prefer it to not be because of an injury, but maybe that's something that happens with him. Also, he's perfect trade bait. If they need pitching, we've talked about the pitching. If they need another pitcher, his value is continually rising, and now he's showing that he can do it at least. I know we need to see him adjust and everything, but he's hitting major league pitching at first blush, so let's see if he can keep it going, and maybe this is the perfect way to kind of showcase him, and come the trade deadline, you can build a big trade around him.
Jeremy's got a guy, Jose Quintana. He's got a guy he'd work with you on. No doubt about that.
Not going to happen.
No, it's not. It's not. And here comes Sahadev right when you need it. Here comes the 10-game homestand against Cincinnati, Milwaukee, and San Francisco. What can the Cubs do to kind of get this rolling? I mean, obviously, this is a team that has mucho talent. I'm not worried about them. I think we'll be sitting here on June 15th talking about how good they are and not anything to do with these issues they're having now. But what a perfect time to get these three in for a homestand.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, and I agree with you. In a month from now, I really believe that we're going to be seeing a lot more of the Cubs we thought coming into the season that we'd see. I think it's not only is it a 10-game homestand, it's against I know the Brewers and Reds have better records than the Cubs, but I think that's the type of pitching that the Cubs can feast on.
Right.
It's the type of weather that the Cubs have been dying for at Wrigley. Not only the Cubs, but anyone that lives in the city has been dying for. We're going to have some really nice weather. We're going to have a lot of offense, and hopefully we've seen a nice little stretch from the pitching. I know it wasn't a great start from Arrieta, but he probably could have gone another inning. Yesterday? So all these guys are starting to find their rhythm. The only reason Arrieta didn't go deeper is because they needed to pinch it because the offense wasn't showing up. I think this is a perfect time for the fact that the pitchers are kind of finding their rhythm, and then the offense is struggling, and now they get to go to a Wrigley that's probably wind blowing out. Hope the Cubs pitchers can keep it on the ground and,
right.
and let the Cubs batters take advantage of that wind, right?
Sahada, if us fans are looking for, well, who could they go after? Because it was always a reliever last year. You thought Chapman, Miller, those guys could be involved. We throw out Quintana. I just don't think that's going to happen. But
right.
Like Darvish, like who do we look at for who Theo Epstein could make a big move for? Because it feels like those guys will do that. They showed us it last year with Chapman.
Yeah, I guess you mentioned Darvish. I think Johnny Cueto will be in that conversation. There's going to be bigger names on long-term deals. A guy like Chris Archer is still in there, a possibility. A guy like Garrett Cole, but I don't know if maybe is it tougher to deal with the White Sox, or is it tougher to deal with a division rival that could, that's looking for a quick rebuild? I don't think the Pirates are looking to completely tear it all down. They're looking to get guys ready and compete again next year. So if they're trading Garrett Cole, is Ian Happ going to come back next year and hurt you type thing?
Good call.
And do they even want to send Garrett Cole to the Cubs? Those two things. He's a real interesting name, and he's a guy kind of fits what the Cubs would be looking for, but it's just he's in Pittsburgh, so that just makes it a lot tougher. But those are, I think they'd go either direction. That they're willing to go Cueto, Darvish, and pay big for a rental. It all depends how bad the situation, the pitching looks. I shouldn't say how bad, but how, what they really feel they need. Do they feel they need that front of the rotation guy to really put them over the edge just for the stretch run? Or are they willing to pay the price for a Chris Archer or a longer-term guy, even if the Quintana trade talks, even if it's doubtful? I agree with Jeremy. It just doesn't seem realistic, but hey, maybe we're wrong on that. Maybe the White Sox will just say, hey, this is the best offer, and maybe it's not going to get better than this.
Could be interesting.
And that makes sense for both teams.
How far would the Cubs go for a guy like Quintana? Happ would be a part of it, but would they do a Happ and Eloy, or do they really want to keep Eloy Jimenez?
I think they really want to keep Eloy. I think you could see something, and this is just kind of spitballing and value-wise, but if you're talking about Happ, Candelario, and Dylan Cease, now you have a real nice core to a piece, right? To a trade, and now you're talking about maybe one more low-level guy. I don't know how good that guy would be, but a fourth piece added to that, and it's a really interesting package that should be able to get most types of front of the rotation arms, depending. Maybe not a Chris Sale type, but
sure.
Those guys come once every 10 years anyway.
Right.
But I think you get a really impactful pitcher. Candelario, a lot of people like him. He doesn't look like the same guy out there either. He's got a nice bat. And he's lean and he's strong now, and he never used to really look like that, and that makes people think he can really stick at third base for a long time. And Ian Happ looks great. So I think you build a deal around those two guys, and if you're willing to include Dylan Cease, hey, maybe you get an impact arm that, is around for more than just 2017.
It'd be interesting to watch. Sahadev Sharma, The Athletic. He covers the Cubs. We always appreciate his knowledge. Sahadev, thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks,
all right, buddy. It's interesting. Sometimes, Jeremy, GMs fall in love with somebody that they've seen dominate them. Johnny Cueto last year, if you remember that in that playoff series.
Interesting short-term buy, and they did that last year.
It would be, and right. I think Theo really, really fell in love with Cueto in that series, saying, I'm glad we didn't have to face him in Game 7.
Got the Cubs side of that series, the Cubs side of that series. Let's talk Cardinals next with Mike Claiborne, KMOX, and the Cardinals broadcast crew.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Protecting your home and family, you better have a plan. Keep them safe from harm with a home alarm from F.E. Moran. Home and invasions are on the rise all across the land, but they'll think twice when they see the sign for F.E. Moran. Don't wait till it's too late. It's time to make a stand. Call 877-FE Moran. F.E. Moran. Alarm.
If you're familiar with cloud computing, you probably know that Amazon Web Services offers a complete set of secure compute, storage, application, and deployment services that help companies launch and scale their IT infrastructures while lowering costs. But did you know that you're still responsible for protecting your own AWS-based assets, meaning your applications and data, from advanced cyber threats? Protect your AWS with Barracuda Network's advanced firewall solutions. Visit AWS Marketplace or barracuda.com/AWS to learn more.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Pam Puso. An emergency situation at an airport in suburban New York City after a Learjet crashes while coming in for a landing. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Pam, 2 people are dead after a private plane, that Learjet you mentioned, out of Philadelphia, clipped a warehouse on approach to Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. Carlstadt, New Jersey police say the 2 casualties are likely crew members on the plane. Police also confirm that one building was on fire, but debris from that building hit another building, causing damage. According to the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which runs the airport, vehicle approaches to Teterboro as well as air traffic coming in have been halted as an investigation begins, Pam.
Thanks, Gernal. The White House says President Trump's revised travel ban is fully lawful and will be upheld.
It was based on the law and the authority that the president rightfully has. That's it.
Spokesman Sean Spicer, today in Seattle, arguments were heard in an appeals court for and against the ban.
Critics call it a Muslim ban, and last week during similar arguments at a federal appeals court in Virginia, a Justice Department attorney faced questions about statements President Trump made as a candidate about Muslim immigration. Regardless of how either federal court rules, an appeal to the Supreme Court is expected.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Amid the search for a new FBI director, Democrats are renewing their demands for a special prosecutor to investigate Russia's alleged meddling in the election. The president has said he could announce a nominee by Friday, but the opposition party says not so fast.
Some Democrats said that they would refuse to consider the name of the president's nominee in confirmation hearings in the Senate until a special prosecutor is appointed.
Fox's John Roberts. Record-breaking day on Wall Street, the S&P and NASDAQ hitting records. You're on the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
Sometimes what you want most from your car is nothing. No headaches, no surprises, no anxiety when it's late at night and you're on some distant freeway in a thunderstorm. Owning a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz can be that anxiety-free experience on every level. You know you're in one of the safest and most thoughtfully engineered vehicles on the road. And with an unlimited mileage warranty, you can drive as far as you want for up to 3 years, with roadside assistance included. Your sense of confidence and adventure are as unlimited as the warranty itself. Now you can drive the car of your dreams and realize that nothing is everything. And during the certified pre-owned sales event going on now through May 31st, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
5 children are among the dead in Akron, Ohio, where fire ripped through a home overnight. 2 adults also killed. The cause is under investigation. New information surrounding the cyber attack that paralyzed computers around the world. A pair of cyber firms tell Reuters they're looking into technical clues that may point to North Korea. The White House says it's monitoring developments closely.
Despite appearing to be criminal activity intended to raise money, it appears that less than $70,000 has been paid in ransoms, and we are not aware if payments have led to any data recovery.
Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert says effects in the U.S. have been limited. North Korea could be looking at another round of sanctions by the United Nations after that missile launch over the weekend.
Experts say it's the longest range ballistic missile yet tested, and the missile was up in the air for the longest time ever. It traveled just under 500 miles, but at a high altitude, landing just off the coast of Russia. With a flatter trajectory, it could have hit the U.S. military base on the island of Guam, could have a range of something like 2,500 miles.
Fox's Greg Palcott, the UN Security Council, meets tomorrow. Too much caffeine appears to be the cause of a teenager's death in South Carolina. The high school student collapsed in a classroom last month after drinking a large soda, a latte, and an energy drink. The coroner in Richland County says Davis Kripe had no pre-existing heart condition. A change of scenery for President Trump's youngest son when he returns to school in September.
Barron's enrolled in the St. Andrew's Episcopal Academy, a private co-ed school in Potomac, Maryland. The school has around 600 students from pre-K through 12th grade. Tuition's about $40,000 a year.
Fox's Heather Curtis, the 11-year-old, and his mother, First Lady Melania Trump, will move to the White House this summer. In New York, Pam Puso, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you cool all spring and summer long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight clear, low of 63. Tuesday warm, sunny, high 86, low of 68. Wednesday much of the same. Feels like summer. Mostly sunny, high 85, low of 67. Right now sunny, clear, beautiful, 86 degrees in Champaign-Urbana.
Jeremy, I'm lucky enough to work in the insurance business. One of the companies I represent, Pekin Insurance, and I am never scared to put somebody with Pekin Insurance. Great adjusters, great products, home and auto, life, commercial. Pekin Insurance gets it done. To find an agent near you, PekinInsurance.com. They also sponsor our, how do I say it, twice monthly?
Bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly is the best way to say that. Visit with Mike Claiborne from KMOX and the Cardinal Broadcast crew.
Mike, how you doing?
I'm looking for an agent near me. I'm just going to talk to Lon, that's all.
I'll be down tomorrow.
Well, Mike,
there you go.
It was a
got some farm equipment I'm rolling in here pretty soon, so I need to have some policy.
We can do that, baby.
Well, Mike,
all right.
That was a fun weekend down in...
Big tiller and some other stuff they got here. I'm ready.
You're not gonna get anything in, Jeremy.
All right, Mike. Well, that was a fun weekend in St. Louis. The fans showed up in droves.
Yes,
a lot of Cubs fans as well. What was your biggest takeaway from that weekend?
Boy, good question. I'm going to go back to Saturday. I've been at every game, virtually every game at Busch Stadium, the new one. When Schwarber stepped to the plate and when he hit the ball that Fowler caught, it was the loudest I've ever heard the ballpark.
Wow.
Including the World Series, because you had a whole lot of Cub fans and a whole lot of Cardinal fans, and you had one faction that when Schwarber hit it, they went, oh, yeah, and there was another faction that was like saying, oh, no.
Right.
And it was so down the middle that it was just – I'd never experienced it before, and I was on the field, and I couldn't hear myself. And that's very hard, but I just thought there was so much electricity in the ballpark. And it was a good game. I mean, all three of them were good games. Cardinals could have easily won the game on Friday night. They didn't. Now, the Cubs can easily say, well, we were shorthanded because Brian didn't play, and Brian was the best player. He was swinging the bat as well as anyone before he got sick. John Jay's back seized up, and Addison Russell dealing with a little bit of an injury. So, they could easily say they didn't have their A game, but, they got a home run out of a kid they just called up, and they had some other good things happen from guys off the bench. So I thought it was a very entertaining baseball. And I saw a play yesterday I'd never seen before when Montero ran past first base and didn't touch it.
Yeah, I said the same thing when that happened. I'm like, well, I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Tommy La Stella, a guy that had a big weekend, of course, for the Cubbies. You know, the one thing, Claves, for the Cardinals that sticks out to me, and we've talked about this, Jeremy and I, and you, for the last 6 years, is depth. And they bring in a guy like Sierra, they bring up Pham, and they have injected a positivity and just an injection of energy to this ball club. And that's the one thing that continues to amaze me about the Cardinals is just the depth that they're able to bring up and guys that not only come up, but are able to get it done when they're there.
Well, and I think the other thing I'd say to that line is they normally stay.
Yes.
I haven't seen this sort of injection, though, since Vince Coleman was called up. Between Pham and Sierra, and by the way, you got to hit those guys back-to-back low in the order. You know, Pham is just not going to cover off the ball hitting in the 7th spot, and then you have Sierra right behind him. It was fun to watch. And, I mean, we've talked about Tommy Pham for a few years now, and, he's had the injury. He didn't play well in the spring this year. And I commend the guy because he just battles, man. He finds a way. I think sometimes he thinks about it too much and he overdoes it. But man, those two guys alone have just been, a shot in the arm, and I think it's going to make Mike Matheny's job more difficult because you got to play him.
Right.
I think it lit a fire into Grichuk because Grichuk has turned it up a notch since watching these two guys play in front of him. Piscotty went to Springfield. He's going to be there till the end of the week. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But it was fun baseball this weekend.
What did you make of Adam Wainwright's start last night? Is it just one, or is it a good sign of things to come?
Well, that first inning was a little rocky. He seems to pitch in trouble a lot more than you like for him to. I think that's going to be the way it is. I think Adam Wainwright right now is probably a guy that's going to win 13 ball games, 14 ball games, lose 12 along the way. If he gets 30 starts. And I don't know if it's going to change. I don't think he's ever going to be dominant, unless he just has one of those special nights. And I think for us as fans, we have to get accustomed that, like all of us, we get older and our skills diminish in certain capacities. So you got to pitch with your brain more than your arm.
Mike Claiborne, KMOX Cardinal broadcast crew. Speak to Matt Bowman. That kid has been unbelievable.
It's a nice 1-2-3 in the bullpen right now.
And he's the one guy, Claves. I mean, there's others, but he's the guy. Whenever Matheny brings him in, I just kind of settle down. I'm like, this kid continues to go out and get the job done.
He's Kevin Segers. He's Seth Maness. He's everybody who's filled that role here the last few years.
Great call.
And I think the problem the concern that I have is the overusage.
Sure.
He's pitched a lot early. He pitched a lot last year. You better have somebody who can get somebody out later in the year. And I still think the Cardinals are going to probably look to make a move to shore up the bullpen even more. And I don't know if that guy that's going to shore it up is in the organization as we speak. So they may look elsewhere somewhere down the road. But he's been terrific, a Rule 5 guy that the Mets gave up on. And, he can throw the double play ball when he needs it. He's got a really good sinker. But I'm concerned about the high leverage innings he's involved in.
Brett Cecil was the big signing.
Oh, boy.
What have you seen from him? What's he need to do to get on the right track?
Well, there's two answers to that, and one I can't say on the air. I think he's just got to go back to basics, man. I think he's got to take better care of himself. I mean, physically, he looks like he's laboring out there.
Agree.
Okay? And I think he's put on a few pounds since the beginning of the season. Now, they say he's a slow starter. All right, we're about to get to June here, man. All right.
Right.
So I just don't know. And I know Mike Matheny's had conversations with him. I honestly say of the 25 men on the roster, that's the one guy I really don't know. He's not a bad guy, but he just doesn't have a lot to say.
He needs to find Matt Adams' trainer and work with him. Because
is that working for Matt Adams?
No, it's not.
I mean, it worked to lose weight.
Here's the deal. It's not working for Adams because he let a guy who was over 28 yesterday against the pitcher, they let him play before they played Adams. And I know Carpenter had a good game yesterday, okay? I'm not going to take anything away from him because he was good in the field also. But if you're Matt Adams, you got to wonder, what do I have to do?
No doubt. Because he's a guy that had hit Arrieta.
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't understand that. Mike just said he had a hunch that it was going to turn out. And, it obviously did. But, Matt Adams has worked hard to get to where he's at. And I think he deserves more of an opportunity. Now, it's unfortunate that he's playing behind a guy that Mike Matheny thinks a lot of, as does baseball. But, if you're not going to play him, move him.
Right. I agree.
Get something in return. Because the guy deserves – he's done everything you've asked him to do. And there's no reward. So if you can't use him, reward him by moving him to a team in the American League.
Mike
doesn't have to be a DH. I just don't want to see him hit the good stuff.
Yeah, well, right, amen. And I kind of feel the same way. I know it's nice to have him off the bench lefty wise, but I do agree. That kid is young enough to where it seems like he could be a factor somewhere, and maybe you could get something back. I was going to ask you about Johnny Peralta, who's starting his assignment now down in the minors to get back. My question isn't about what do you do when he's back. My question is, how does a veteran like that approach this when he understands that he's joining a club that is on fire right now? He's joining a club that Jed Jerko is basically taking his spot right now and doing some amazing things. How does a veteran approach that?
A veteran knows that he was that guy one day.
Okay.
He replaced somebody at one point in his career. One of the things about Peralta, he's a very popular guy on the team, and he's helped a lot of players. The young players he will sit with during the game for a couple, 3 innings, and they sit and watch the game together. He points out little things. He's got one of those great mental scouting reports on pitchers and what they like to do. So he has value from a dugout standpoint. But, you're a professional for a reason. You deal with the adversity. I always say, and I think it applies even in our business, they don't really pay us to come on the air and have fun and yuck it up and do stuff like that. And they don't pay Johnny Peralta to millions of dollars to put on a uniform and go out and play a game and have fun with guys. They pay us for days like what he's going through. I call it aggravation pay. You guys have gone through it in the radio business. I certainly have. And whenever I get mad or disappointed in how things work, I say, wait a minute, this is payday. This is what I'm getting paid for, to deal with it like a professional and not be part of the problem. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what Johnny Peralta is going to do.
Well said.
Claves, the Cubs obviously won the World Series. Everyone expects them to be the favorite again to do it this year. And I don't know if they thought it would be easy, Mike. I mean, it's obviously a process after you go that deep that maybe you're a little behind schedule with your offseason. But do you think Cubs fans or the Cubs are learning that this isn't that easy to do it again? That's why people don't do it that
Well, you have to go back to Cincinnati Reds of the 70s in the National League for somebody to win it back-to-back. I don't think the Cubs have enough pitching, plain and simple. I don't think they've got enough starting pitching to get them there. And I think they have to have a bridge guy. I call him a bridge guy because he's now the guy that comes on in the 6th or 7th inning to get you to your setup and closer. I don't think they have enough pitching. And the pitching that they have is getting a little long in the tooth, and Lester and Lackey. And, I think Arrieta, he's playing for a contract. I think the Cubs have a very interesting decision to make on Jake Arrieta. Do they pay him? I think his best baseball might be behind him, like a lot of players. But I think at the end of the day, they've got to make a decision on commitment because I don't think they have enough in their minor leagues that's ready to make a contribution.
Mike, also last night we saw Derek Jeter get his number retired. I know he's an American League player, but as you look back on his career, what will you remember most about Jeter? Classy guy. Derek's dad and I went to the same university in Tennessee. We were the same fraternity. I wore his number when I was there. He was well before me, but I've known Charlie for years. And when I first met Derek, when the first time they came to St. Louis for interleague play, he was so cordial and just saying, "Hey, are you going to be okay? Do you need anything?" I'm like, "Hey, kid, you're in my town. I'm asking the questions here, okay?" And he was so gracious with his time. And, I was the only guy last year when he came through here that he did an interview with.
Wow.
And he's just a class guy. I know his teammates hated to see him go because when Derek Jeter was a bachelor, you just wanted to be around for the leftovers, the crumbs, and that was a good night. So they used to say to Tino Martinez, one of the reasons why he didn't want to leave the Yankees is because when he and Jeter used to go hard, and Martinez was very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. And I think the other thing, when I use the word class, you never heard anything scandal-wise about him.
No.
Now, he may not have been the most dynamic interview because he was always guarded, because I think he understood the responsibility. But, you can play in New York for 20 years, and the worst thing they can say about you is after you had a nightly conquest, you gave her a swag bag to go home with an autographed ball in it. I got news for you. If that's the worst you can do,
right?
Then he had a very good career,
without a doubt.
Because I know I've never given a swag bag out at the end of the night.
Well, Mike Claiborne, I was about ready to call you Sunday morning and say you need to get to bed, young man, or Saturday morning. But you had your show. You had your show with Shannon, and you had Joe Madden over, right? Now, I'm upset. I had to be up early Saturday. I did not hear any of the show, but it sounds like you had a wonderful time with Joe Madden.
Well, I'll make sure I get it sent to you. We had a blast, and not only did we have fun at doing the show, we stuck around for about another hour and a half.
Oh boy!
And we had a couple more cocktails, and then he gets a call from Joe Walsh, who was in town playing with Ted Nugent. Now, fortunately, Joe Walsh doesn't drink, but it was quite a collection. But Joe Madden is a delightful person to be around. I know some people don't like him because they think he's a little flamboyant, but this is a guy who's truly paid his dues to be in the game of baseball.
That's cool.
If you look at his resume, he's done everything from scouting to coaching to instructing to being a third base coach, a bench coach, you name it. Joe Madden's done everything. He's seen everything. And when you listen to him, he's got some interesting opinions. But here's and this is what great coaches do. They don't necessarily coach players. They coach coaches. And that's what Joe Madden does better than anybody. And everybody has their own method of trying to win, and I respect other people's methods. Some are a little bit more outgoing than others. His method has gotten the Cubs in a very, very good situation, not to mention he's got good talent to use because he readily admits, I didn't have this in Tampa every year.
Right.
But you know what? It was a terrific show. I'm very proud of what we did. He loves Mike. He's a huge Cardinal fan. I don't know if you know that or not.
I did.
He knows the Cardinals as a kid because he was a big musical guy.
Nice.
And he is, so yesterday I'm giving him Red Shandy's phone number because he wanted to reach out to Red. And he spelled it as if it was a test.
Wow.
And he said, and I said, I can't even spell his name. He said, well, I don't know who the Cardinal fan is here, do we? And so we laughed about it, but he's followed them for all of his life. I think if there was a dream job, it would be one of the Cardinals, but we have a pretty good manager in our own right, so he can't have it.
Sure. I got it. Well, I could tell that you had a great time, and I do want to hear that. I'm sure there's a way we can podcast that.
We'll get it for you. I'll get it for you, and I'll email it to you. Dude. I hear you can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, nowadays, these kids.
I'll send you a tape. Man, we'll drop a tape in the mail for you. Get the big reel-to-reel going.
I'll get my old truck out and throw that cassette tape in.
I was going to say, can I get an 8-track of that?
Sit in the car and listen to it on your 8-track.
That would be awesome. Well, Mike Claiborne, the Cardinals are playing well, and I'm loving it. KMOX Cardinal broadcast crew, we always enjoy the visit, my friend. Thank you so much, Mike.
Good to visit with you guys. We're going to have some fun on Tuesday and Wednesday with the Red Sox in town.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
That's going to be a blast. And I think we got our old buddy Danny Cox coming on Friday night. Nice. And Saturday night, I have a sit-down. I don't think Willie McGee's ever sat in a chair for an hour, but I got him. And we're going to do that Saturday night. I know this applies to you, Jeremy, because I know Lon's probably, you know how he acts on Saturday.
Right, right. I wouldn't be able to focus.
Gene's like, not now. Anyway, it's one of those deals where we got Willie McGee sitting down for an hour after the game.
That is awesome.
So make sure you tune in.
I will, buddy. Mike Claiborne, thank you, my friend.
All right, fellas, have a great rest of the week.
You too, buddy. Mike Claiborne, KMOX Cardinal Broadcast Crew, is always brought to you by Pekin Insurance. Check out a local Pekin Insurance agent for a life quote now. PekinInsurance.com.
Jeff Passan has something interesting on the Cubs and the trade market. We'll talk about that when we come back. Also have a next question later this hour. If you want to weigh in, you can. 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. At the beginning of the show, we talked about Jeremiah Tillman signing with Missouri, which will make that bragging rights game a little bit more interesting. But you can weigh in on that as well. 359-2255.
Did I ever tell you the time I did sit down with Claves after the game at Shannon's? Of course, Shannon's isn't there anymore, but Gene and I had gone over. He had gotten us into the KMOX booth. Yeah. And then he's like, afterwards, let's go to Shannon's. Meet me at Shannon's. We're doing the show. So we go over there. He does the show. We watch the show. And then we sat in Shannon's after it closed for about an hour and a half. And it was one of those. I mean,
how did I get here?
Oh, my goodness. And the stories he can tell.
Claves is the best name dropper I've ever heard.
Ever.
I mean, he's sitting there talking. I got the exclusive interview with Derek Jeter when he was in St. Louis.
Ever.
Played with his dad went to my school, and his dad was a good baseball player.
Yeah.
But it's just like the situations he gets himself into with Joe Madden and Joe Walsh.
And Joe Walsh just
and
happens
Mike Shannon. Just Claves in the middle of that.
And Claves is, I've said it 100 times.
He's like Forrest Gump.
He's got the best, right? he's got the best job. That's perfect. All of a sudden, he's sitting right next to the president. It's like, how does Claves do this? We hope you enjoy that. We do it by, bi-monthly?
Yes.
That's right. Okay. So join us.
It's bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. I'm sorry. I don't know why I cannot say that term. But we have Mike Claiborne on twice a month.
Dan and Tuscola actually has an interesting name for the Cubs that they could go after. We'll talk about that as well.
Okay, we'll do it all next. It is the Tay and J Show.
It's warming up around Champaign-Urbana, and that means it's time to get outside and ride in a Polaris off-road vehicle. And the best time to buy is during the Polaris Spring Sales event. You'll find great financing, plus rebates up to $2,000. You'll even get a free 2-year extended warranty on any full-size Ranger or any Sportsman 450 or 570 ATV. See your Polaris dealer now. Offers valid through May and vary by model. No charge for promotional 2-year extended warranty. See dealer for details. Off-road vehicles can be hazardous to operate. Always wear a helmet and take a safety training course.
Pekin Insurance and your local independent agent are committed to providing the best coverage options and the best service possible. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at PekinInsurance.com and on social media. Check them out on Facebook at Facebook.com/Pekin Insurance. It's a great way to learn more about insurance for your auto, home, life, or business. You'll stay up to date with important announcements. Plus, they'll throw in a few fun facts along the way. For beyond the expected information, follow Pekin Insurance on Facebook today. DP Dough is the original Calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign-Urbana and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original Calzone company.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your Trane Comfort Specialist. Right now is a great time to buy a new Trane heating and cooling system from Lands. For a limited time only, we're offering 0% interest for 6 years. That's no interest with equal payments and approved credit for 6 years on any qualifying Trane system. Or, here's another way you can save on a new Trane heating and cooling system from Lands. Trade in your old system. For a limited time, you can get a $1,000 trade-in allowance on any qualifying Trane system. So pick your best deal. No interest for 6 years or a $1,000 trade-in allowance and start saving. Call 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. Remember, it's hard to stop a train. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
See Lands for program details. Call 888-653-0051 for details about credit costs and terms. Regular APR is 28.99 for newly opened accounts. APR may vary, subject to credit approval.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days. Mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
If you're a pro,
you know that this is not efficient. Because you know there's always a better way. There's also a better way to save. When pros buy in bulk at Lowe's, they save up to 30%. Up to 30% on the building supplies you use every day, like insulation and drywall, which is a better way to do business. So at Lowe's, buy more, save more. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe'sForPros.com for details. Minimum purchase required for discount, U.S. only.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
428, I'm Jeremy Werner. Oh, 429.
Oh, wow.
It rarely happens when I'm looking at the computer.
Right when it happens.
Yeah, 429.
Nice.
I'm Jeremy Werner with your Sports Center updates. That Illinois-Missouri basketball
This is just
thing,
to prove that you don't tape this ahead of time.
That's true.
Boom.
That Illinois basketball-Missouri rivalry was kind of,
Yeah.
Had the low point.
Yep.
Got ratcheted up a few notches. His former Illinois signee, Jeremiah Tillman, is now a Missouri Tiger. School announced today the four-star center gives Mizzou a top 10 recruiting class nationally. That's highlighted by number 1 overall prospect Michael Porter Jr. Illinois, meanwhile, still has 4 scholarships remaining. Huge weekend for Illinois spring sports. Illinois softball earned its second straight bid to the NCAA tournament. They will earn an at-large bid to the Kentucky Regional.
Okay.
They'll face Marshall 11 o'clock Friday morning. Kentucky and DePaul square off in the other first-round matchup of the double elimination bracket. Illinois tennis down 3-0 to Oklahoma State at the Oklahoma State Regional. They come back and win it 4-3. We'll talk with Brad Dancer, Illini tennis coach, at 5:25 here on the Tay and J Show. Illinois men's golf sits in a tie for second place after the first of 3 rounds at the West Lafayette Regional. That's 1 stroke behind UNLV. Eduardo Liparelli had a phenomenal front 9, 6 under 30 on the front 9. He ended up 4 under for the day at 68.
I did that one time.
Nick Hardy tied for 8th after shooting a 1 under 71. Illinois baseball lost 2 of 3 at Rutgers over the weekend. They'll need some help to make the Big Ten tournament. They host Iowa in their season finale series here over the weekend. NBA, an ankle injury to Kawhi Leonard turned a Spurs blowout into a Warriors 2-point win in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Golden State outscored San Antonio 58-33 after Leonard left the game. In the East, the Cavs will finally find out who they play in the Eastern Conference Finals. Celtics-Wizards, Game 7 tonight.
Was so excited for something that happened Saturday, I can't even begin to tell you. I honestly just, but I'm gonna tell you.
So you just lied right there.
I did lie. I had second thoughts, so I decided I'd tell you. So, I've been working on a house, right? So I've been trying to get into a house and getting all this stuff done, and really every waking moment you feel like you need to be doing something, and you can't ever relax.
Yeah.
So Saturday, Lucas, my oldest, had a tennis tournament in Effingham at 8 o'clock. And I knew it was going to be one of these tournaments where you get down there, you're probably not going to play right at 8, so we're going to hang around and wait to see when he plays, and then win or lose, he's going to play again maybe an hour or 2 later. Yeah. And I started thinking to myself, now when he was playing travel baseball back in the day, maybe 3-4 years ago, it finally just got to the point where it was just too much. Like on Saturdays, you'd sit there and say, oh man, we play at 10, then we play at 2, and then we might not play until 6. This is ridiculous. Now, because of the schedule I've been on lately, I could not wait to get down there Saturday and do nothing. Nothing. And I knew, going down, I'm like, you know what? Your responsibility right now is, as a parent, you need to be there to watch your son play tennis. And if somebody needs a drink, if somebody needs Jimmy John's or whatever, you're that guy. And I went down there and I pulled up. I bought a paper on the way down. I bought some donuts. I pulled up, sat in the back of my truck because I'm a hick. I just put my gate down and I put my chair up on the back of the truck. That's a great idea for you parents out there.
It was outdoor tennis.
It was outdoor tennis, but even at a baseball game, you can look over the fence. Beautiful day. And I sat there for 6 hours watching tennis and just doing nothing. And it was the best day I've had in so long. And then
it's amazing, isn't it?
It is. And then I sat there. It was like we left Effingham about 3 o'clock, and I'm like, I could run home and do this and this. Nope. I'm going to run home and maybe head up to Daly's and have a beer, and I'm just going to enjoy this stinking day. And I did. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You get Saturday.
Yes.
I didn't even do a story. I barely looked at my website.
That's awesome.
Barely watched sports.
Yep.
And I went and saw my friends, hung out. One of my best friends from college, they have a kid who's exactly the same age as Torin. And we got to hang out with them.
Perfect.
Came home. I mowed the lawn.
Yep.
Didn't pay attention to anything else going on in the world.
It's fantastic.
And luckily, Illinois participated with me, and nothing else happened.
Right.
And it was great. And then Sunday, I get to have brunch with my mother.
That was
We
awesome.
go over to my mother-in-law's, and every year she has the greatest gift idea for herself.
This is wonderful.
And we do yard work for her.
This is brilliant.
So in
fact, do not tell moms this.
No,
you should not tell
it's
our
way
listeners'
better than
moms.
flowers, brunch, all those kind of things.
Come do yard work.
And then after we had Chinese food, we go home.
Perfect.
I go to bed at 9:30.
I was in bed at 9 last
and
night.
slept until 5:30 this morning.
same here.
The kid only woke up once, and my wife got up for him, and then I woke up in the morning, and it was phenomenal. It was like the best weekend in forever.
It really was.
Isn't
Isn't that great?
I barely worried about sports.
Yep.
Like I paid attention to it,
Yep.
watched highlights, watched a little of the Cardinals-Cubs games, and it was great.
It was awesome.
It was just like nothing was going on.
And
and I get like 3 months a year where this is a possibility.
Right.
Right? With
The
Illinois
rest of the
sports
time
being done.
Yes.
The rest of it's kind of crazy.
It is.
We got a bunch of weddings coming up. Tiff and I are actually going to have a night to ourselves coming up.
Wow.
It's like, what's going on here? I'm going to enjoy this.
Another Torin on the way. No, but you're right.
Is this Office Space? Are we doing Office Space, Harry? Okay.
Oh, well, he's showing us.
I did nothing, and it was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. And even Saturday on the way home, I was able to listen to Cubs-Cardinals game. Just driving in my truck, interstate, windows down, listening to Cub-Cardinal game. And I'm like, this is...
See, in that situation, you'd think about getting off the interstate.
I did.
And going back roads.
I did in Arcola. I got off
There
in
you go.
Arcola. I took every country road from Arcola to Philo, and I'm like, I'm just going to chill.
Did you
I'm
sing
just
a
gonna
country
relax.
song while
no,
you're doing
I was
it?
listening to the Cardinal game. So
But in your head, were you thinking,
yeah.
this is a country
I
song
had some
right now?
Chesney stuff coming up in my head, Garth Brooks, but no, it was perfect. And I even, for the first time ever, tweeted out a GIF.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
I was like, what? That even came up in my mind that Juan tweeted out a GIF.
And Nick Hardy's dad, John, he retweeted it, and I could, and so did Mikey Dudek's mom, and I can tell because what do they have? They have kids that were athletes that were involved in everything, and it's just, and my tweet was essentially when your son has an all-day tennis tournament and you have no responsibilities, and I think it was Tony Stewart or some dude just shaking a beer on the top of a NASCAR after a race, and I'm just like, that's how I feel right now, minus the beer.
A good day.
I'm like, it was just a good day to relax and watch. It was awesome.
That's
and
good.
Lucas played really well. Because otherwise I would have yelled at him and thrown things at him.
Gone McEnroe on his butt.
He did tell me to shut up.
Good.
What do I do in this situation?
Okay.
So my son is normally not talk back. Neither one of my sons talk back to me. And
But he's now 17.
He's 17. He's playing a sport that I can
Don't
play
know
at tennis,
much
but
about.
don't know much about it. Not like baseball when I'd be saying something. And for some reason, these guys they were playing, they kept crowding the net, and Lucas and his partner were not hitting over him, and they were just hitting soft. And I'm like, you guys either need to power through him or hit over him. That's all I said, right? Just a little throw out thing that I was even looking at the sky when I said it, and I get a just shut up. That's what I got from Lucas. And I'm like,
Here's the thing.
I
don't like to talk back.
No, I don't either. I about stopped the match.
But you were kind of talking back.
I was.
Here's my thing.
I probably should deserve it.
And I can't judge because I haven't been in that situation.
Right.
How I think I will do, I have the idea that I will do this.
Yes.
I will let the coaches coach.
Yes, and for the most part, I do.
That's my and I know you do.
Yes,
but that's my idea.
Right.
As a father,
right?
I think I'm going to do this. That's my plan going in. Now, when my kid does something dumb on the athletic field, or say he's in something else, involved in something else, like doing a play or something like
and
that,
doesn't do something right, doesn't hit his cue,
right?
It's
maybe
hard.
I'll be like in the stands going,
"That's your line."
Use some inflection in that voice, kid. I don't know. Like maybe I'll be doing
and
that.
Torin just peers at you from the stage.
So
no, I
like to think I'm going to be that way, but I can't tell you should have done this.
No, right.
I've never been in that situation.
Can I tell you one other funny story? And this happened late last week. I'm watching Andrew play baseball, and you know me. I park in left field of a baseball diamond, and I sit as far away so I can say anything I want. It goes 10 feet, and it dies. Nobody hears it. So Andrew now is a 10-year-old against 9 and 10-year-olds, and he thinks he's the cockiest kid in this league. So now when he gets on base, he tries to lead off, or he can't lead off, but after the pitch is thrown, he goes down about halfway.
Yeah.
And daring them to throw down to third so then he can run home or whatever. I hope I'm not giving away his secret here. So
a lot of people scouting Andrew.
Right. You never know if these St. Joe and Tolono teams are going to, and Tuscola. But so the other day, he actually almost gets picked off.
Mm-hmm.
And I, from left field, yelled this. I said, now stay on the bag! Because I think it's embarrassing. And I want the speed of the game to go on because these games take way too long. The coach, Chad, looks at me. He looks down at me from third base, and I'm like, uh-oh. I shouldn't have said that because his coach wants him to do this.
Yes.
So after I sent Chad a text during the game, and I said, Chad, I apologize. I'll shut up. Have Andrew. Well, of course, then guess what? The catcher throws to third, overthrows it, he scores.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah.
So but I can't stand. I do not want I want my kid to be confident.
You are airing it out right now that you disagree with your coach.
No. I want my kid to be confident. I don't want him to be cocky.
Yeah.
And I was just like, get back on the bag. And I can't think of a more embarrassing thing than
you think it's showboating
a little bit. Yes. And if you get picked off, you're going to be humiliated if you get picked off. And he alone has picked off about 4 kids doing
I guess
that.
Little League's different than travel.
It is.
Right?
It is.
It's a little bit different
But
than
it was funny because Chad just stares down at me and I'm like, oh, no. But Chad was like, I'm just giving you crap. Right. He's like, but I did tell him to do that. I was like, oh, crap. I said, I'm going to shut up. Yep. Lon's going to sit down here in left field and shut up.
All right, this from Jeff Passan of Yahoo Sports. He wrote about the Cubs. Chicago Cubs accept this prescription of chill pills and realize that even if the first 6 weeks of the season prevent the Cubs from finishing the year with triple digits in the win column, their slow start does not affect them in nearly the same way as it does fringe contenders or teams with a surplus of impending free agents. The Cubs know they are in this for 6 months. They know this is no reasonable reality in which Schwarber, Anthony Rizzo, Addison Russell, and Wilson Contreras all finished the season with sub-400 slugging percentages. And they know that a year after turning 74.5% of balls into play into outs, they may not be quite as good, but they're certainly not the 20th best team in baseball at it.
No.
They know, too, that help is but a phone call away, and even if these phone calls haven't started an interest, they know they can at any moment. Here's the truth about the Cubs. They already are canvassing the significant market of starting pitchers likely to be available before the trade deadline, according to sources. Much of who's available depends on the next month or so when the standings shake out and give teams a truer sense of the prospects for 2017. The potential list, though, gives Chicago plenty of possibilities. Beyond the always available types like Jose Quintana and Jeremy Hellickson are Garrett Cole, Yu Darvish, Johnny Cueto, Irvin Santana, Jason Vargas, Sonny Gray, Alex Cobb, Marco Estrada, Matt Harvey, even Zach Greinke. At least a quarter of those dozen will be dealt, and that might be on the light side.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a buyer's market.
I agree.
When it comes to pitchers. And that puts the White Sox in an interesting position.
It does.
Because Quintana was the top guy in the market after they traded Sale. Now, though, with the Rangers struggling, the White Sox fans should be rooting for the Rangers to come back.
Right.
Because then Darvish probably will stay on the team. He's a free agent after the year. Johnny Cueto.
Yep.
I think he can opt out after this year. You want San Francisco to pick it up, but I don't think they're going to.
I don't either.
Cueto's a better pitcher than Quintana.
Yes, he is.
Now, Quintana might be more consistent at times, healthier, but Cueto can be an ace. Quintana is solid, consistent, but he's not that guy who misses bats all that often.
Right.
These other guys, I wouldn't worry about Quintana, but these are nice options for the Cubs.
They are.
Greinke's contract would.
Oh, I don't think Chicago.
I don't think there's any interest there. Dan and Tuscola asked. Matt Harvey.
Yeah. That is a perfect change of scenery guy, right?
I mean, if you're buying really low, like you're talking Dylan Cease for Matt Harvey.
You do it.
Yeah.
You do it in a heartbeat.
But I'm not giving up one of those top prospects.
No, and you saw what Matt Harvey did against the Cubs 2 years ago. So Cubs fans, in their mind, are looking at this kid and saying that guy was dominant in that series against us in the NLCS. Matt Harvey's a good pitcher. And he just needs a change of scenery out of New York. That whole thing has just gone AWire. And I don't just mean with Harvey. Obviously, injuries have played a huge part in that. But I just think that is the perfect situation for me. Quintana's a perfect situation as well. But Matt Harvey you could get for less.
Way less. Now, Quintana, you kind of know what you're getting.
Yep. But like you said, you buy low on Harvey and you hope for high. You hope for high-end results, and he's got the ability to bring you high-end results. And for some reason, that kid, he would just play in Chicago. I think he would play in Chicago.
I think he enjoys...
I don't mean actually playing for Chicago. I know he would do that, but I just think his idea... Well, I know what you're saying.
He enjoys the big city lifestyle a little bit too much. I think he needs to focus a little bit more on baseball if he wants to be great.
And maybe the Cubs worry about that, but maybe Joe Madden, who's not scared of any of those...
I agree with you.
Projects, if you will. Not that he's a project.
And you know what? I would just trust.
Yeah.
Trust your management.
And you've got Lester, you've got Lackey, you've got some veteran pitchers there to kind of guide him. And what's the one thing that the Mets really don't have minus Bartolo when they had him? They didn't really have veteran pitchers on that team. They had a bunch of young guys, and I'm sure they all kind of said,
now they're all hurt.
Hey, we're like 23 years old and make a lot of money, and we live in New York. Why aren't we going out right now? Whereas a guy like Lackey, a guy like Lester, they're going to say, hey, you know what?
Bartolo just went to the steakhouse.
Right.
Right?
He didn't go drink. He just went and ate all night.
Ate all Harry's brownies.
That's fantastic. But I think Matt Harvey would be an excellent addition for the Cubs. I think that's, and I like what he's saying. This is going to be a fun year to look and see what's going to happen. And
it's going to be a fun summer.
The one
for
thing
these
I like
teams.
the thing I like about the Cardinals, they don't really need pitching. So while everybody else is looking at pitching, the Cardinals are going to be that team that's looking for hitting. And that'll be interesting to see how that plays out with regards
how big they'll go for it.
Right, and that's the key. And I guess
wouldn't number one on their list be another bullpen arm? I mean, it always is. It seems like
yes,
but it feels like that'll be their first thing.
Yep. Or a third baseman that's good, like an Evan Longoria.
That's what we're talking about. When they're talking about hitters, though.
Yes.
For the Cardinals, they have so many of them.
Right.
It's got to be a near elite guy. That you're going for.
Yep. And there's one name out there. And I cannot think of it. I read an article about this name, and I'm like, oh, he'd be perfect. And I just can't think of his name right now. But
it wasn't our discussion about J.D. Martinez.
It was not J.D.
Who had 2 home runs on a bad foot the other day.
But J.D. would be fine with me. I'd be able to. But I think they'll look to shore up third. I know Jed Jerko's great. I know this. But I don't know that
utility guy.
I don't know that he can continue although he did it last year, I guess. But I don't know he can continue like this in that 4-hole. But if they could just put somebody in that 4-hole that's solid, I think the Cardinals could be a dangerous team.
We'll talk with Brad Dancer, Illini tennis coach, next hour. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Wisconsin had an interesting football move. We got next question coming up.
Right.
We're hitting on a few topics, including the White Sox and Cardinals going after the same guy.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air. They all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
If you're a pro, you know that this is not efficient because you know there's always a better way. There's also a better way to save. When pros buy in bulk at Lowe's, they save up to 30%. Up to 30% on the building supplies you use every day, like insulation and drywall, which is a better way to do business. So at Lowe's, buy more, save more. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe'sForPros.com for details. Minimum purchase required for discount, U.S. only.
The party's on. The legendary voice of Motley Crue, Vince Neil. Performing all your favorite Motley Crue hits. Saturday night, May 20th at 8 at Effingham Performance Center. Vince Neil live. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, the EPC box office, or phone. Give it a kickstart with Vince Neil live.
Finding great people to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's time to try ZipRecruiter, where 80% of jobs get a qualified candidate in just one day. How? Using powerful technology, ZipRecruiter matches your job to the right candidates fast. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/find for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Hey, it's me, your old AC. We need to talk, man. I am out of hair. Trust me, it's not going to get much better. I need to be replaced. Call the experts and get a new air conditioner that will save up to 50% on energy bills. Go ahead, do it. I'll be right here. Whew.
At Chief Bauer Service Experts, save up to $4,000 on a new home comfort system. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. For expert service guaranteed.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
Hey, it's Stephanie Pratt with Coldwell Banker, the Real Estate Group. I want you to rock out with me on Saturday, May 20th at the Effingham Performance Center to the legendary Vince Neil, the voice of Motley Crue. We're going to rock out to all your favorite Crue hits, and we'll get a limo down and back with Dwayne at Bishop Platinum Limousine. Go to ESPNCU.com and sign up to win tickets today.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What'll he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Ooh.
Next question.
Oh, John is there.
He's busy getting transfers. Have you seen that?
No. Is he getting a bunch of them?
I mean, he had like 8 spots to fill, I guess, at Akron.
Surely he'll get what's-his-face from down south, right?
Tillman?
No, not Tillman.
Pickett?
Pickett.
Yeah, Joe and Hendrickson and I talked about that.
I heard that. You would think, but
I think
Joe
I think Pickett was hoping for some bigger stuff.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
I mean, Ohio State needs some players. Maybe they'll come through.
All right, it is time for next question. And we'll start with this, Jeremy. Ian Happ was tossed out for the slide rule. What did you think of the play?
It was the correct call.
It's the correct call.
Based on the rule, it is the correct call.
Yep.
Now, Fowler made more contact earlier in the game. I mean, Happ was trying to break it up.
Yes, he was.
MLB is trying to take out that play.
Right, because you can
because
hurt
of
somebody
injuries.
bad.
I mean, we've seen it.
Yep.
So I get why baseball guys don't like the play. It takes out a part of physicality. It takes part of the game. But it is the correct call based on the rule. How do you change the rule, though? Because then we're arguing intent.
That's the problem.
And proving intent, as we'll talk about here with an NBA thing, is very, very difficult.
Without a doubt.
Baseball made this simple and said, if you don't try and pull up at the bag, that's interference. And Happ did not try to stop.
He didn't. He rolled through it. And
Fowler tried to stop.
Yes.
Right? But he did make contact.
And, of course, you have to, when you slide, either way, even before the bag, you have to be able to make contact with the bag.
Yeah.
So if you see a guy that's a foot towards center, a second baseman throwing to first, and you see a guy trying to take his legs out, as long as his arms can reach the bag, technically that is a clean slide.
I don't like guys getting hurt.
I don't either.
I don't have a problem with that kind of play because I grew up with it.
Exactly.
But I understand that if MLB tries to rule on intent,
yes,
we're getting into muddy waters.
That's exactly right.
Next question.
All right. Jeremy, John Heyman said on the Score that he'd be surprised that the White Sox didn't sign Cuban prospect Luis Robert. Does Robert mean more for the Sox or the Cardinals? This is a kid that the Cardinals interested in as well.
19-year-old Cuban prospect that they say will be probably 2-3 years away, 2 years away once he gets here. But they say he'll be a top 25 prospect in baseball. I think for the White Sox. I
It's
think,
perfect. He would mesh perfect with what you're trying to do right now.
And it sounds like the White Sox and Cardinals are the top two teams for this, that the White Sox will, splurge on him, as they should. He fits their plan.
Yes, they do.
The Cardinals have a couple outfield prospects. White Sox really don't.
No.
And they need an infusion there, and it'd be nice to put that kind of talent into your system, right as Moncada and all these other guys are starting to come up.
I agree with you. And, the Cardinals have a few of these Cuban kids that are really not really faring that well. Now, it's early. They're young. But this will be interesting to see. I think it's funny that it's coming down between our two teams, the Sox and the Cardinals. But we should hear from that fairly soon here, I think, on that signing.
Next question.
All right, Wisconsin dropped quarterback recruit Ben Bryant for tweeting out a Georgia offer. What is Wisconsin doing here?
So this kid went to Twitter, because even committed prospects, they do this nowadays. Blessed to receive, #blessed, receive an offer from this school.
Right.
And he got an offer from Georgia, which is a big time offer.
I think that's a cool thing to let everybody
he's
know.
Just tweeting out, hey, this is really cool, I got this offer. Well, Wisconsin must have had an issue with it, because they said, they called him up that day or the next day and said, you don't have a spot anymore.
Wow.
What this came down to wasn't about the tweet.
Okay.
Ben Bryant in Wisconsin hadn't been in contact all that much. Wisconsin took another quarterback commit. Seems like they wanted a reason out.
Oh, okay.
And they blamed it on a tweet? Be honest with the kid.
Well, right, exactly.
I mean, do I really need to hear every blessed to receive this offer? No, but come on. These kids are they get these opportunities.
It's a way of bragging to yourself or to everybody.
And come on, you should be proud of that accomplishment.
And I mean that in a good way. Yeah.
How many people should get those offers?
Amen.
That's a special thing that you earned.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I don't mind a kid doing that, but be honest with the kid. You didn't do it because of a tweet. You just didn't want him anymore. It's a kid out of Lyles Township in Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Illinois have any interest?
I don't think he fits what they want.
Okay.
Next question.
All right, well, on Zaza Pachulia kind of got under Kawhi Leonard.
Yes, he did.
And Kawhi Leonard fell and hit his foot, Zaza Pachulia's foot. That led to Kawhi's ankle injury. Is that a dirty play?
This one was not, in my mind.
I looked at it, and on first blush, no. And Harry said it when we were watching it. It's like, you could look into that and say, oh, yeah, every time you watch it, it gets dirtier and dirtier.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
I think there are a lot of guys, and I knew guys in high school, back when I played, in 1987 and 88, that would do this exact thing and try to get under you. And I rolled my ankle quite a bit. And it's an injury that can hurt you and can cost you. And you're seeing that with Kawhi. I just don't think on this particular play that Pachulia was doing that on purpose.
I don't think there was an intent to hurt him.
No.
I think there was an intent to make him...
To make him uneasy?
Yeah, squirm a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because you get into somebody, you're going to, maybe that jump shot gets affected next time. I don't think he was trying to hurt him.
Next time you either hit him on the elbow or you can flip a certain area that doesn't feel good.
Next question.
Well, that's really dirty. It's Draymond Green level stuff. Draymond does that a lot. Well, either
it happened to me, and boy, it affected my shooting. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's wrong.
I know
Don't
it.
do that, guys.
Kevin Muraski.
Will either NBA conference finals be interesting?
Well, I think the Spurs-Warriors is showing that it could be.
Well, if Kawhi's hurt.
If Kawhi's hurt, it won't
if they would have won game one.
That would have been interesting.
I think it'd go 6.
Yes. But the East, I'm not expecting anything to be. I think that'll be a 5-game. Somebody will win 1 game.
NBA is definitely rooting for Boston, right?
Yes.
Like just to get the Celtics back in the conference finals
I agree.
and against LeBron.
Yep.
I mean, Washington's got the best player out of all those, of John Wall.
Yes, they
and
do.
I think that team could be interesting. Maybe win a game or 2 from the Cavs. But I think the NBA is rooting for Boston. But
totally
yeah,
agree.
I don't know. I don't think either of these goes 7.
Especially with Kawhi out now.
Yeah.
Because the West is the one
he'll probably
I looked.
play.
Well, he'll play, but not up to 100%.
Next question.
All right, ESPN is shaking up SportsCenter. What do you want out of SportsCenter?
So what they're doing is Kenny Mayne's coming back.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Kenny Mayne's going to be with
Kenny
John Anderson, Butcha Gross, and Steve Levy in the 10 o'clock spot. Sage Steele is going to be on in the morning.
Okay.
And, of course, they've been doing this. They've been doing personalities in a certain time slot. You got Michael Smith and Jamel Hill at 6, and Scott Van Pelt kind of started all of this with his midnight. It's interesting because sports has changed. Sports TV has changed a little bit.
It has.
Especially nationally.
Yep.
They're going away from highlights, going more towards analysis, more like radio.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you want out of your sports?
You know what's funny? I want to go back to the old days where they show highlights.
I want some highlights.
I do too.
Chicago, their shows, like on Comcast Sportsnet, they've gone away. They're trying to do the SportsCenter thing. It's like in the loop now, where they're trying to be funny and all this stuff. When I wake up in the morning, I'd like to see some highlights of games I don't see within 30 minutes.
That is exactly right.
I would really like to do that. I can go to my phone and get that.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I just throw it on the TV and have a cup of coffee in my hand.
Jeremy, I don't go to my phone to get that. And I still think I'm a viable customer at 46 years old that SportsCenter should target, because I'm buying a lot of what they're advertising.
I don't think they're targeting you.
They're not, is the problem. But just I want to turn on SportsCenter for 30 minutes and see all the highlights. That's what I want to see. I don't mind the funny stuff on occasion.
I think the personalities bring you in.
Right.
Like, I would love to watch Van Pelt every night.
Oh,
I think he's
tremendous.
great.
Tremendous.
I think he's great. I love his personality. I love his takes on things. But I think you will go towards a personality. But I think SportsCenter's gotten away from itself.
I totally agree.
But obviously they're doing it for a reason.
Yeah. I don't need to see one Cardinal highlight and two guys yelling about
hot takes.
Yeah, I don't need that. I'd rather just see the Cardinal highlights, know what happened, and move on.
Embrace debate, Lon.
Yeah.
Brad Dancer, Illini tennis coach. What a miracle turnaround that was to get to the Sweet 16. We'll talk to him about that.
Can't wait to talk to him.
We'll talk a little bit more about Jeremiah Tillman to Mizzou.
Yeah. It is the Tay and J Show.
Going on 5 years, Rock's Place in St. Joseph has become the neighborhood sports bar and grill for a lot of folks in the area. Rock's Place is known for their delicious burgers, and they also have great daily food and drink specials. Plus, Rock's has plenty of TVs, so you can keep tabs on the Cubs and Cardinals all summer long. And while you're there, press your luck on one of Melody Music's video gaming machines. For delicious food, cold drinks, and good company, make it Rock's Place, 101 North Main Street in St. Joseph. Find them on Facebook, ROCHS in St. Joseph.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
At Teterboro Airport in New Jersey killed 2 crew members aboard a Lear jet. According to Carlstadt, New Jersey police, the plane hit a warehouse, sparking a fire on approach after the appearance of listing to one side as it prepared to land. One witness, Richard Samuels, told what he heard.
Booming, a lot of booming because the cars caught fire, one after the next because the plane blasted right on top of the cars.
Ground and air approaches to Teterboro have been temporarily halted. There's no word on the cause, but weather reports indicated high wind gusts around the time of the accident, Jane.
Thanks, Gernal. An appeals court reviewing the Trump administration's revised travel ban. Whatever the ultimate ruling, that case likely to wind up before the U.S. Supreme Court. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has the details live.
Jane, the acting Solicitor General told the Ninth Circuit Court judges that they should defer to the president and not focus on the anti-Muslim statements he made before taking office, but rather on the national security reasons he has for wanting a travel ban. One of the judges asked attorney Neil Katyal, who's representing the state of Hawaii in challenging the ban, if they should follow that advice.
I don't think there's any precedent in this court or any other that says that when you're thinking about what a reasonable observer would view as an Establishment Clause problem, that you defer to a government official. Rather, the whole test is an objective observer, not what the president thinks.
Katyal says the ban violates laws against discriminating based on nationality. Jane.
Thanks, Jessica. He's not the right person to run the FBI. South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy issuing that statement after speaking with the Attorney General on Saturday and again this afternoon. U.S. markets ending higher, the Dow gaining 85 points today. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SE was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone remembers the first time they saw one, and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury, the unparalleled safety, the performance, and the style Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event going on now through May 31st, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
The administration accusing Syria's Assad regime of killing thousands of political opponents, burning the bodies in a crematorium to destroy the evidence. The State Department releasing newly declassified photographs. Tomorrow, the UN Security Council meets to discuss North Korea's successful Sunday launch of a medium-range missile. It splashed down about 60 miles south of the Russian city of Vladivostok.
In addition to ending up 500 miles downrange, crucially, it went up 1,300 miles high, giving it a potential range of some 2,500 miles, capable of hitting the U.S. military base in Guam and beyond. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un reportedly was ecstatic and claiming that the missile could carry a large nuclear warhead. There's no confirmation of that, though experts tell us that is not far away. Crucially, they say, this missile could be a precursor for an intercontinental ballistic missile that could threaten mainland United States.
Fox's Greg Palcott, the U.S. trying to track down the people behind that global ransomware attack.
The malware infecting hundreds of thousands of computers around the world is in the wild, but White House Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert says has not infiltrated U.S. government systems.
Overall, the U.S. infection rate has been lower than many parts of the world, but we may still see significant impacts in additional networks as these malware attacks morph and change.
FedEx is among the U.S. companies hit by the virus that locks up computers with the demand of ransom. Bossert is urging Americans to make sure computers are updated with the latest patch to prevent the malware attack. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Was the Mouse House hacked? The Hollywood Reporter claims Walt Disney chief executive Bob Iger told employees hackers claim to have access to an upcoming movie and are demanding a ransom, Disney refusing to pay. I'm Jay Metzler, Fox News Radio.
My goodness. What is the world?
I think you made up the guy that you want to trade for from the Cardinals.
You just went through every team in Major League Baseball. And I cannot
think of the guy. First baseman, third baseman.
I saw an article about this guy would work well in the Cardinals in that 4 spot.
Was it Bernie? Was it?
Maybe it was Donaldson. From Toronto.
Josh, good luck.
I know. I don't think it was him, though, but maybe it was him. But, yeah, we can't get him.
You can't trade for Josh Donaldson.
Well, we can. I mean, technically you can.
I mean, you got 10 prospects.
We got Matt Adams.
Here's your Colton Wong. Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com.
You got 10 seconds.
Tonight, clear, low of 63. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 86, low of 68. Wednesday, 85, your high, 67, your low. Right now, 84 and sunny in Champaign-Urbana.
Wow.
Get it done.
My eye is itching, and I don't know what to do.
Colton Wong, Lance Lynn, Matt Adams. Who says no?
And Brett Cecil. Yeah. You get him back. Take that, Toronto.
Basically what Oakland took for him.
Right.
It is Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com. Lante, this will recap the first 2 hours of the Tay and J Show.
Jeremiah Tillman
was a bullfrog.
And he has a home. Everybody sit down for the news.
Joy to the world.
Oh, what a great song. That whole soundtrack from that.
Which,
it was
Forrest Gump?
No. This is way back. Somebody will tweet it in. Somebody will text it in. 359-2255.
2 songs
soundtrack
with my name
of a
in
movie.
It. 2 songs with my name in it. Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Nice.
Joy to the world. And Jeremy by Pearl Jam.
Yes.
I like being a bullfrog rather than the kid who goes to school with a gun.
Every time I knew I was going to be working with you, I just kept singing that. Jeremiah. All right, so Jeremiah Tillman.
My name, not Jeremiah, by the way.
No, it's not. Jeremiah Tillman is heading to Missouri. Interesting.
Shocker.
Yeah, right. I mean, this is kind of what we assumed all along, but he certainly did a good job of confusing everyone along the way. But Tillman will play for Conzo Martin, and all of a sudden, this bragging rights game is going to be really fun this December.
Here's what I want to get right with Illini fans. Missouri got a lot better.
Yes, they did.
Right? I know people doubt whether it's going to work long term, and I have those doubts too because Conzo brings in a lot of flash, gets these high recruits. He's done it everywhere.
Yep.
Didn't work all that well at Cal.
It did not.
Right? You had a 4 seed the one year and you bow out in the first round. Last year you didn't make the tournament.
No.
You had a huge downturn at the end of the year. Mizzou comes in and saves them. It was a good hire by Missouri.
Right.
They needed somebody to bring some excitement back in that program. And all he does in his first couple months is land the number one player in the country. Now, he's only going to be there 1 year. Michael Porter Jr. had to hire Michael Porter Sr. to get him.
Unreal?
And we'll see how that works long term for Conzo.
And his brother couldn't reclassify, right?
Yeah, and Jonte's a really good player as well. And then you add Jeremiah Tillman. That's a pretty good start. And that's exciting that fan base. And they're going to be a lot better than they were in the Kim Anderson era.
Yes, they are.
And for Illinois, it's a loss because Jeremiah Tillman filled such a big need.
Right.
Now, this recruitment was exhausting for us. I mean, it was just ridiculous, the hemming and hawing that Jeremiah Tillman did in this whole thing. And, John Gross got fired.
Yeah.
So I don't mind the kid going up with his options.
It gives
him an out, and that's fine if you want to go check out your options. Maybe you lied about, if the family lied, I should say, about, if Jamal Walker's there, we're going to go there. Whatever. He decides to go elsewhere. But, boy, this makes it a lot more fun.
It does.
For that bragging rights game, which had hardly half the stadium Scottrade Center sold last year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot different this year. And you wonder how Illini fans are going to approach Tillman. I'm fine with booing.
Yep.
I'm fine with being excited to root against him.
Yes.
I don't want it to get nasty.
No, let's hope it doesn't.
But I do find the next 5 years of these programs really interesting.
Could be.
Because you got a guy who brings immediate excitement. We'll see how it lasts long term in Conzo. Then you brought in a coach with a lot of substance. Adds Mark Smith. We'll see what else he can add to this roster because he needs a lot of work. And Brad Underwood. But it'd be interesting to see how these two different paths go because Illinois could have probably gotten Conzo if they wanted.
There's a little parallel between the recruits that came in. Like, to me, Jeremiah Tillman is a guy that's going to come in and excite you. He's a 5-star recruit. How long will he be there? Mark Smith is a guy that could easily be one of the best freshmen in the country. I'm not saying he's not better than Jeremiah Tillman, and I like that one.
He'll be one of the most productive freshmen in the Big Ten.
But don't you get a sense like Underwood, he's going to be one of those that over a 3 or 4 year span has the better college career.
No doubt.
Without a doubt.
Joe Hendrickson was on our show, and he said, I have Mark Smith as number one recruit in the state.
That's awesome.
I think he's going to be the most productive college player.
Awesome.
Now, if you are saying who's going to be the NBA prospect, I'll go with Tillman.
Right.
I think Smith can turn himself into that, much like Denzel Valentine turned himself into a lottery pick. I think Mark Smith has that potential, but Jeremiah just has that physical talent and ability that if he works hard enough, he can get there. But I think all those things are questions. How long does he want to stay in college? Will he stay in college long enough to develop? I find all those storylines intriguing.
Yes.
But as a media guy, Tillman going to Missouri, that's juicy.
It is juicy.
That's juicy for this rivalry.
And it's frustrating for Illini fans for a couple of reasons. Number one, you had him signed, and he kind of lied a little bit with regards to, if Walker's there, I'm there, and then Walker's still here, and he's not. And you need a spot for a guy like that. You need a big man underneath to help you on the defensive end more than anything. And all of a sudden, Tillman looks at Illinois saying, that's the perfect fit for me. Yet he's going to do this at Missouri. Now, Missouri needs it as well.
Well, I think because of the flash of it.
Yep.
He's going where Michael Porter Jr. is going to go. All the NBA scouts are going to be at all his games.
Good call.
It's a good opportunity for Tillman.
Sure it is.
Really good opportunity for Tillman. Now he needs to produce.
Just weird. I mean, that night.
Who makes more NCAA tournaments the next 3 years, Missouri or Illinois?
I think Illinois.
I agree with you.
I think Illinois. Missouri could next year, but that's going to be
Missouri's going to have a top 3 pick in the draft in 2019.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So it'll be interesting. I'm just trying to picture myself that day of the bragging rights game getting ready to watch Jeremiah Tillman in a Missouri uniform. That's when it's really going to hit me about this kid's recruitment and how crazy it was.
This is easy in hindsight. I always had a doubt that he'd play in an Illinois uniform.
No, I agree.
Always. Always seemed like he was looking elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he never really was sold.
If he was, good.
Yep.
You don't go to a place you don't want to go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
What a fun weekend in St. Louis with that Cubs-Cardinals series, setting all these attendance records.
Yeah.
Cardinals fans, why aren't you showing up before, right? I mean, come on. But, I mean, this rivalry has ratcheted up a lot. I mean, we're talking Illinois-Missouri rivalries here. This is the best one you got. And Cubs fans maybe get a little bit worried right now, but I think what this is telling us is it's hard to do this again.
It is.
Cubs, and I think they'll be fine.
Yep.
But the Cardinals are kind of making a statement that, hey, you're going to have to work to win this division again.
And what it's telling you, too, is that the Cardinals are just that frustrating team that never quite is out of your way.
Why won't you die?
Yeah, exactly. Right? I mean, they're kind of that.
They aren't going to go away.
They're not going away.
And that's what the Cubs have been going for. That's what the White Sox are trying to build. It's what every team wants.
Yep.
And even
Theo Epstein said that 3 or 4 years ago.
You see the Giants.
Yep.
They're having a terrible year so far, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs a lot of years and don't contend some years.
Right.
The Cardinals every year are contending for playoff spots, and that's so difficult to do nowadays.
It is, and it's frustrating when you're their rival, especially, and you're like, oh, here we go, the Cardinals are good again. But I'm not worried about the Cubbies, nor are you, and probably in 1 month on June 15th, we'll be sitting here, or I'll give you June 13th on Flag Day, sitting here talking about that the Cubs are doing just fine.
Ian Happ, is he playing for the Cubs in 2 weeks?
I think he should be. I think he should be, but when you get some of these guys back, how do you play him?
Right.
I mean, I think you have to. It's kind of like Sierra. You have to almost send these kids back down to continue their development, and that's the bad news. But I liked what I saw out of Ian Happ.
How worried are you about
He's a thick kid?
How worried are you about Jake Arrieta?
I'm worried a little bit about Jake Arrieta. Because that guy went from being unhittable, 2 no-hitters 2 years ago, or in a stretch of a year, right, to now where he's got an ERA over 5. I'm worried about him.
All right, and then we said Jeff Passan has a passage in his latest column about the Cubs already vetting the trade market.
Yes.
Who of those names that we listed off intrigues you the most as a Cub?
Johnny Cueto.
I agree with you.
Johnny Cueto.
He might be a rental because he can opt out, I believe, this year.
And a lot of it, and I'm leaning too much on this, but I've read articles before about GMs that fell in love with a guy. Johnny Cueto nearly single-handedly beat you last year with the Giants, and if you would have had to face him in Game 7, you may not have advanced. And I think Theo Epstein and Joe Madden looked at that and said, I'd love to have that guy pitching on our side.
That's Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, or you can visit them online at drivechampaign.com. It was a big weekend for Illini Spring Sports. Brad Dancer, Illini tennis coach, will join us next to talk about their miraculous comeback.
I can't wait to talk to Coach. Hey, Busey celebrated National Volunteer Month in a big way, volunteering more than 2,000 hours in April alone to help build a better future for our community. Busey Associates donated their time to various organizations in Champaign County during their annual Community Promise Month. That including assisting with the annual Festival of Quilts for the Cunningham Children's Home, visiting with the homeless who utilize the Phoenix Daytime Drop-In Center, and then helping, get this, to package 180,000 meals at Community and Campus Day of Service. Busey made it easy also to give back through social media initiative, and it's called Hometown Heroes and Promise a Plate. Social media followers connected with Busey to raise funds for these critical services, including $1,000 donations. And in Promise a Plate, with one click, followers donated as many as 33 meals. In total, nearly 40,000 meals were donated by you who clicked on the social media sites at Busey. Partner for purpose and progress and help strengthen our community. Connect with Busey today. Visit Busey.com and follow Busey on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Member FDIC.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. From Charlotte, here's Dari Noka.
It certainly feels like they were given the only chance they were going to get, or realistically, like they earned the only chance they were going to earn. Up more than 20 in the second half on the road, the Spurs let it get away. Sure, we can blame the injury to Kawhi Leonard as the biggest reason the monstrous lead slipped, but in the end, They likely weren't going to win this series anyway, and now with their best player suddenly injury-prone and the apparent return of Steve Kerr and his calming presence to the Warriors, and the fact that they just aren't as good as Golden State anyway, I think we look back on this series in a week and a half and say, man, they really needed to get Game 1. Sometimes a team doesn't need to win a full 4 games for a series to at least feel like it's over. This one is over. In 60 seconds, the single most incredible thing about the incredible Derek Jeter.
It's time for some Straight Talk. You love your phone, right, Greenie?
Oh, yeah, I'm always streaming basketball games on it.
But I bet you don't love that pricey wireless plan you're on, though, with all the mystery fees jacking up your monthly bill every month.
Yeah, talk about taking a hard foul.
Flagrant. So what if I told you that you could keep your phone you love, but pay a whole lot less every month to use it?
I'd say I'm very interested.
Just switch to Straight Talk Wireless. They actually let you keep your exact same phone with your exact same number and your exact same network, but for a whole lot less than you're paying now.
That's nothing but net from way downtown.
Bring your own phone to Straight Talk Wireless. Unlimited plans start at just $45 a month with nationwide coverage on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
There will never be another one, ever, to play for the most scrutinized team in any league for as long as he did. In a market where people simply look for controversy, Derek Jeter never found the negative light. No controversy, no drama, nothing. His number was retired last night by the Yankees, as it absolutely should have been. And as we look back on his career, his .310 career average, his .321 career average in the World Series, 5 Gold Gloves, 14 All-Star games, and 5 world titles, we will always see him as the champion that he is, as cheesy as that sounds. But to me, his biggest achievement is staying completely away from controversy for 20 Yankee seasons as a single man in New York City. He has the looks, the talent, and an unfair history of supermodel girlfriends. All of the things that make most average guys jealous and envious. Are we all not supposed to hate guys like that? Yet nobody hates Derek Jeter. I don't know, maybe it was the famed cell phone drop-offs at every party Jeter hosted, but I tend to believe that Derek Jeter was simply a really good guy that did literally everything the right way. Who knew those people ever existed? With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Dari Noka.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
It's a familiar place you know. It's a relationship to hold on to. It's a place for families, a part of growing up, and a key to staying healthy. There are warm, friendly faces, people you trust because you know you're in good hands, because you know there's complete passion, professionalism, and heart. If it's your first time or another visit, you get the care you deserve at Illini Smiles Dental Care. Dr. Shu, Dr. Fott, and Dr. Lou and their team are ready to see you now. Illini Smiles Dental Care, 303 West Springfield Avenue in Champaign. Book your visit online today at IlliniSmilesDentalCare.com. That's IlliniSmilesDentalCare.com. Illini Smiles Dental Care. We love to see you smile.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
Yo! Everybody get up! Everybody get up! Everybody needs to understand that I'm more than simply a hype man for this rap group. Just like Geico is more than just a company that can save you money. Geico also has fast and friendly claim service, so they can help you when you need it most. And while I do love being a hype man, I also love reading for children's audiobooks. Like Little Bo Peep, she lost the sheep, and she don't know where to find them. Go! Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals. A nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. I don't make mistakes often, but when I do, I correct myself. And I wouldn't call him a friend, but a buddy sent me a thing saying Flag Day is June 14th.
Obviously.
So I said the 13th. So he knows what I'm doing to him right now. So
You don't have that written on your calendar?
I don't,
Flag Day?
For some reason I don't. So
all right, we got Brad Dancer, Illini tennis coach, joining us in a few minutes. I'm Jeremy Warner. This is your 523 Sports Update. The bragging rights game has ratcheted up a notch. Former Illini signee Jeremiah Tillman, now a Missouri Tiger, the school announced today. Four-star center gives Mizzou a top 10 recruiting class, highlighted by number 1 overall prospect Michael Porter Jr. Illinois still, meanwhile, has 4 scholarships remaining. Huge weekend for Illinois spring sports. Illinois softball earned its second straight bid to the NCAA tournament. They earned an at-large bid to the Kentucky Regional. They'll face Marshall at 11 a.m. on Friday. Kentucky and DePaul square off in the other first-round matchup of the double elimination bracket. Illinois men's golf sits in a tie for second place after the first of 3 rounds at the West Lafayette Regional. That's 1 stroke behind UNLV. Eduardo Liparelli led all Illini with a 4-under 68. That included a 6-under 30 on the front 9. Nick Hardy is tied for 8th after shooting a 1-under 71. Top 5 teams after 3 rounds advance to the NCAA championships.
Mike Small on the hot seat, of course.
Illinois golf's won 4 straight NCAA regionals. Illinois baseball lost 2 of 3 at Rutgers over the weekend. They need some help to make the Big Ten tournament. They're 2 games out of 8th place. Top 8 teams advance to the conference tournament. They host Iowa this weekend in Champaign. NBA, an ankle injury to Kawhi Leonard turned a Spurs blowout into a Warriors 113-111 win in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Golden State outscored San Antonio 58-33 after Leonard left the game. In the East, the Cavs have been waiting for 8 days. 8 days to find out their foe in the conference finals.
That's their fault that
Stop
they're that good.
Sweeping people.
Exactly.
They'll finally find out tonight. The Celtics host the Wizards for Game 7 tonight. That's going to be a good one. Who you got?
Celtics.
I got Celtics.
Yeah. No. I'm going to go with Danny Ainge hitting the buzzer beater off a nice feed from Dennis Johnson. The screen set by Kevin McHale. I think that'll be the key. Larry Bird, they're going to use him as a... They're just going to set him on one side. They're all going to... Wait, are we talking... Wait, I'm thinking Celtics back in the day.
McHale off the bench.
Kevin McHale, who always had the chest that was puffed out like 900 feet, but he wasn't showing off his chest. That's just how his body was. All right, it's the Tay and J Show. Lonte, Jeremy Warner. There's one coach that criticized himself here on the U of I campus, and somehow he got away with it because Brad Dancer said that he didn't do a good job coaching this squad. That's what I read.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, what? Coach, you didn't actually say that, did you?
I've done a horrible job this year. I really have.
Why would you what do you mean by that?
You know, you got to know your personalities. You got to know how hard to push and when to back off. And I think we adapted a little bit too much to our personalities this year, and we didn't push hard enough. And you know, we were soft in too many matches on the road in the Big Ten when we really shouldn't have been. And if we don't lose those matches, then I think we're playing Ohio State, you know, for the regular season title, and I think we win that match if we're in a different position. So I don't know. I just think we just did not do a good job as a coaching staff, you know, throughout the year of just really identifying which guys to push and when to push them and how hard to go. And And I know we can do better. I know we've shown that here down the stretch a little bit. So.
I think that's cool that you admit that. Obviously, you've had so much success at Illinois, but I'm sure there are years where a coach has a down year. And luckily, your team, though, Coach, I mean, what a special team all of a sudden when you're watching this squad right now.
Yeah, Coach, you're down 3-0 to Oklahoma State, who's hosting this regional. You've been in that position a lot.
Right.
Did you gather the team together? I mean, what
Did
happened?
Jason Hayward show up?
Yeah, what happened to turn that thing around?
Well, I think the one thing is we felt good about a lot of our matches, and the only reason we were down 3-0 is just, a couple matches we just didn't play well in. And we really was not a great team effort from us the other day, but it was 4 guys that went out and were just tough as nails. And so even though we got down some sets, we were really resilient. We were really tough. And our guys are, it's funny, we watched a couple of days before, we watched the old 30 for 30 to survive and advance. And so kind of talked about that mentality. Like, I don't care how it gets done, just figure out a way to get it done. And so I don't know, it was great for our guys to do that. They kind of had that attitude out there. And I told, I can't remember who I was talking to today, I told someone it was a little bit at the end of that match, was kind of like Rocky against Ivan Drago, where, our little bit of a crowd, I think, kind of won over some of the Okie State fans. Our guys played with a tremendous amount of heart and cool. Passion, and it was really evident, I think, watching our guys just how excited they were to be out there and having that opportunity.
And then Illinois tennis ended the Cold War right there. That's phenomenal. So, Coach,
well done.
Where's that rank among comeback victories victories that you've had?
I don't know. It's tough to say. It was really a goofy match because Zeke Clark had a match point and Kova had match points, and they didn't win them on those match points, and both of them won their matches about a half hour later. And so it could have been, could have gone down a lot quicker, but sort of this agony of waiting for us to win, another half hour. And so it was a proud moment more than anything else, because we've been struggling so much this year for our standards, and to have these guys and, having 5 freshmen out there in the first round, 5 out of 6, and then 4 out of 6 freshmen in the second round. And so for these guys to be in that moment, have that big comeback win and on the opponent's home court, we'd never done that before. I didn't realize this is my 13th year at Illinois, and we'd never gone, into opposing place and won to advance, to the final 16. So, typically we've been able to host, which is great, but
right.
It was a different experience. It was a different experience, no question. It's like the Pistons beating the Blazers and the Lakers back in the day when they won their title.
I love it. Going old school there. That's what I like about Brad Dancer, Illini tennis coach. I wanted to ask you, because I've been to your matches, and tennis is unique. My son now plays it, as you know, but it's unique with regards to all of a sudden, like a couple lose here and you're down 2-0 and you look at that scoreboard, you just need some kind of positive. And I would assume, like, for those freshmen to see Hiltzik get his win and Vukic get their win, is there something about that to where they say, all right, Hiltzik, he's a veteran, he came out and won, now I can do this? I mean, is there something to that?
There is, but I tell you what, this match was a little bit different, and then it was just kind of like, I think we did a great job of not scoreboard watching.
Oh, okay.
Of just kind of putting our heads down and just playing.
Fair enough.
And from that, it was kind of like all of a sudden, those last few matches just rolled in a matter of minutes. I mean, it was Hiltzik, Vukic, Clark, and Kovacevic, and that was all kind of in the span of 10 minutes. We went from being down 3-0 to winning the match. So it was, I think they were all just like head down, get to the finish line, the horse sees the barn door open, and let's go close it. So
I love it. I love it.
Coach, I feel like on the show we do a good job of highlighting some of the, non-revenue sport athletes who are doing so well. I don't think we've done well enough with Alex Vukic. I mean, his career, he has been phenomenal. 93-12 overall, 20-7, or 28-1 in the Big Ten in singles.
Wow.
I mean, is this the most talented kid you've had?
He's definitely not the most talented, and that's no offense to him. His work ethic is, we've had so many great people through here that you always want to be careful about what sort of hyperbole you want to put around. But I think, again, I told someone the other day that I'm like, this is hard to argue. This may be one of the best seasons put together in Illinois tennis history. I mean, you've got Kevin Anderson, Rajiv Ram, Amir Delic. I mean, you're talking about some incredible players, Kerry Franklin, and great, amazing seasons that they had where they lost 1 or 2 matches, but he's done it at number 1 singles every single match. He's beaten, he has 2 wins over guys that's their only loss on the whole season is to him. And so it's been remarkable. I had the head of the media guy from the ITA, he called me today and said, somehow or another, he's kind of gone under the radar a little bit this year. And so you got a guy that, is having a truly maybe one of the best seasons ever in college tennis, and it's maybe gone under the radar a little bit.
Well, and what I think's cool is the one year when you had so much talent, he was playing like four singles, and nobody could even touch him. It was like 6-0, 6-0. And you realize, like, then you kind of, I don't want to say you pushed him aside because it's like, well, he's playing four, but now he does it at one. I mean, it is truly unbelievable. How about TCU? What? I know you said they're really, really good. They beat you earlier this year. What can you expect out of them?
Yeah, they're a great team. They got a ton of talented guys. They got a number of spots in their lineup where they've only lost, one or two matches all year long, and so it's a big challenge for us. But they're a better team than when they beat us earlier. But I think we're also a lot better team, and so it's kind of one of those things where we know we've made big strides, we've made big improvements. We're tremendously excited about the match, and I'm sure they are too. I think they're everybody's talking about them as this wave of confidence they're riding right now, and they're maybe a shot to win it. So we're going to respect them, but certainly not be scared at all, and we can't wait for the opportunity.
Coach, I don't think we've talked to you since the announcement that you guys will be hosting. Is it 2019 or 20, the NCAA championships? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's 2022.
Okay.
So not necessarily right around the corner, but it's interesting with the timing of recruiting and where things are happening. That's happening right now. So it's a big announcement for us in terms of just recognizing that this class, this 2019 class, that'll be their senior year, is a great opportunity for us to maybe close some of those.
That's awesome. Brad Dancer, Illini tennis coach, a big win at Oklahoma State. Now they'll face TCU in the Sweet 16. Coach, congratulations. Start coaching better, would you?
Yeah, I will.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Jeremy, I heard that 600. That's usually what you shoot on the front nine, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe 6 over on the first two holes is about what I'm at, Coach.
Who even thinks about shooting a 30? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's unreal. Coach, thank you so much.
All right, have a good one, guys.
You too, buddy. Brad Dancer, I love talking to Brad Dancer. He's a great guy.
He's done a heck of a job with that program. Those are huge shoes to fill.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? And with Craig Tiley, and he's done a great job. But, I wanted to tell him that we don't talk about Alex Vukic.
No, I'm glad you asked that question.
This tennis team hasn't been great this year, so we haven't talked about him as much. And now they make the Sweet 16. But, 45-5 his freshman year was in that 4 spot.
Right.
Last year, I think he took the 2 spot, 25-5. And then this year is the number 1. As a number 1. He's 23-2.
That's crazy.
Went undefeated in the Big Ten at 12-0, and he's the number 3 ranked player in the country. And as Brad said, I said talented. I should have said best player.
Right.
But he came in like not this highly ranked guy.
Not at all.
And he's turned himself into one of the best college tennis players in the country.
He's not a guy. I don't know if you have his build and everything. He's not tennis guys, sometimes you look at them and they're 6'6", and they serve the ball 140 miles an hour. I know those are the elite. But you sit there and you look at a guy like Alex Vukic. He doesn't blow you away with regards to just staring at him.
He's the 50th overall ranked player in Australia out of high school.
Wow.
5th for his age group, but 50th in the country.
And look what he's done at Illinois. Only a junior, right?
Yeah.
So you got him for another year.
Got Aaron Hiltzik for another year.
Wow. That's impressive.
They return basically everybody.
They're kind of like the golf team with 2 juniors that lead the way, like on the golf team with Hardy and Meyer, and then you've got a bunch of younger freshmen. Now Liparelli's the sophomore, and he got it done today for the golf team, but unbelievable there. The softball team, that was fun to watch in that Big Ten tournament, and now they're going to move on to the NCAA where they play Marshall, and they're in the Kentucky Regional.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. Brianna Wonderly looked great in that Big Ten tournament. And the hard part with that is you try to ride Brianna Wonderly, essentially, because that's really your best pitcher and the one that's going to get you the victories. But this Illinois softball team, there's something special about this team.
We're going to have a couple players in studio tomorrow at 5:30.
Awesome.
Includes Taylor Edwards out of Arcola, who even Coach, said the other day, Coach Perry, she was like, I need more out of her.
Right.
So it was interesting that she said that.
I agree.
She obviously knows Taylor can take it.
Yes.
But she expects a lot out of her. So we'll talk to Taylor, hoping to get Nicole Evans in studio. But if she can't, we'll get another player.
Nicole Evans is like that kind of a star now. With her stats, I mean, it's hard to even get her in our studio. This is what Nicole Evans has become. She is unbelievable to watch and fun to watch. But what was great about that is she didn't really have a sparkling Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
But everybody else around her played so well. And that's what's fun about this. Taylor Edwards and, of course, Erin Walker from Tuscola. She got on the mound a little bit against Minnesota in that game. So Minnesota had a catcher I told you and Harry this. I don't know if she's actually 6'3" or 6'4", but she looked it.
Yeah.
She's the one that hit the grand slam. If you watched the game, it was unbelievable how big she is. And by the way, the Illini game versus I don't mean big in a bad way, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
tall,
just tall.
basketball player.
Yes.
Like Shatrice Whiteside.
Right, that's exactly right. But Illinois will be on TV against Marshall, I think, on ESPN.
11 a.m.
That's awesome. And that'll be Friday. So you'll be able to watch this team in the NCAA tournament. So that's fun. That's always fun when you can actually watch these kids compete.
I'm trying to think. Tillman to Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
You put that in the category of Eric Gordon, we talked about.
Right. Who does Illinois steal that people hate us?
I mean, they got that's the thing. If you're an Illinois fan, I get it.
We don't ever think of it that way.
Hate on it, right?
Yep.
Illinois football's taken some other people's recruits.
No doubt.
At times.
No doubt.
I'm trying, the basketball equivalent of the other way.
Yeah.
But you would totally do it.
Oh, in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
If you stole Jeremiah Tillman from Mizzou, you'd be like, take that.
Yes.
Right? I kind of love this because it ramps up the rivalry.
It does. It totally does.
It takes this thing to another level, just like it did with Indiana.
But I'm interrupting you.
But where would Tillman rank among those recruits who have spurned Illinois? I mean, you can put Cliff in there.
You could put
Even though
Cliff.
he didn't, I mean, Gordon didn't sign either.
No, he didn't.
Snyder.
But Gordon you had from his freshman year on, it seemed like.
Snyder, there wasn't a lot of acrimony because it was his dream
That was
school.
just a bad break.
Right.
And it was all because of Jaquan Lyle. You little punk.
That did not work out for the Mata coaching tree. I said
Did
that
I just
in the
call a 20-year-old kid a punk? I'm sorry. Grow up, lad.
Mata might call him a punk at this point. That didn't work out for Mata, and it did not work out for John Gross.
No.
You should have just stayed at Louisville.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Everything would have worked out for everybody.
I'm trying to think who else that Illinois has been burned by in the past. I mean, they got on a roll there where they had, he got players.
I mean, Alfonso wasn't
but that was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad back in the day. We didn't like him. We didn't like Conzo Martin either.
Yeah.
And there was reasons why he didn't come to Illinois. I think it was because the issue with Dion.
Derrick Rose, you knew it wasn't happening.
No, but
Sean
you know what?
Livingston, you knew it wasn't happening.
You know what always bugged me about Derrick Rose? I never hated Derrick Rose. I hated his brother, Reggie Rose, who came out and said, Illinois, at the very end, basically said, well, Illinois didn't really do its part to recruit Derrick that hard. And it's like, oh, come on.
Reggie saying things at times, I will always give him credit.
Okay.
Because he got Derrick out of there.
No, there's no doubt.
Without Reggie insulating him, and
There's
it might
no
have
doubt.
hurt Derrick as a pro and just getting his message out because Derrick couldn't get his message out very well. He got him out of the worst neighborhood.
Out of a bad
one of the worst
situation.
neighborhoods in the country.
I agree with you. That's
and
a
he
brother
protected him to make sure that he got to that point. So no matter how he got there,
right.
If you were in that situation too, no matter the means you got him there, you got out.
Mm-hmm.
And Derrick made generational wealth for his family.
Yes,
so
he did.
I'll always give him that.
No, you're
right. I think, we always paint these people as one thing, and we don't see the other side of it.
I'm glad you said that, actually.
There aren't, a lot of times in life, there's not just a villain.
Right.
It's more complicated than that.
That's
right?
a great point. That is a great point.
I don't think Reggie was a villain. When you think about his life, I think he's done probably more good.
Amen.
But maybe there's some rule breaking.
Maybe
there was a statement that wasn't that great.
It was just that one. Well, no, right. But it was just that one kind of piling on a little bit to say.
It was easy. You weren't going to play for Weber.
Well, that's the thing.
That's the thing. You didn't have the coach. If you had Bill Self here,
correct,
you might have a chance.
Correct.
At Derrick, just like
so
Sharon Collins
for him
and
to
Julian
say, well, Illinois, it's almost like you're putting Illinois in a bad light when in reality, Derrick, he wasn't coming here anyway.
Bill from Troy, I would not be okay with recruiting a player with a signed letter of intent elsewhere.
Yeah, Bill had said something earlier in the show about that.
Okay, if you want to say that, but say Mark Smith had signed with Northern Illinois.
Okay. Yeah,
right?
Good. This is a good analogy.
In December.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, their coach gets fired. He asked out for a race, something like that.
Right.
And if Illinois didn't reach out to his high school coach,
then you'd be mad,
or reach out to people.
You'd wonder why. Why.
We can all play this this is what I think some people get bothered by with Illinois fans.
Mm-hmm.
They play holier than thou because you're not landing these kids.
Probably a lot of university fans play that.
If you could steal,
sure.
If you could steal a talented player from somebody,
absolutely.
Most fans are going to be okay with it.
What is this loss of Tillman? Look at it this way. what does this do for Illinois? Like, for instance, I mean,
maybe Bill from Troy, by the way, maybe he's gung-ho on that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying most fans, they get bothered by this stuff, but then if Illinois does it and gets a talented player,
then they're fine.
They're all for it.
They're fine. But it's funny. I feel like we're just pushing him under the rug, Tillman, and we're not realizing how big of a loss is that recruiting-wise.
Talk to me in 4 years.
Yeah, good point.
Because, one, I have questions about Tillman at the next level, pushing himself, and how long will he stay there?
Okay.
I don't want to say he's Jeremy Richmond. That's too much, right?
Right.
And Jeremy was a pretty good player.
Jeremy had some issues in high school that showed you that kind of pointed you in a direction.
And it's obvious Jeremy had more than just people around him giving him bad advice issues or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy had some personal demons.
He did. I mean, he was in fights in high school.
Right.
He had a lot of issues.
There were way bigger red flags than Jeremiah Tillman, who's like a lot of recruits.
No doubt.
He's like a lot of recruits who have a lot of people in his ears, and he's listening to different people, and people want something out of him, all those things. But I think there are, like Mark Smith, I don't have any questions. He's going to come in here and work his butt off.
Right.
Jordan Goodwin. I have no matter what you think of him going to SLU, I have no questions that if he stays healthy, he's going to be a positive influence on that program and do really well and win a lot of basketball games. Jeremiah Tillman, I think, is a complimentary piece.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it could go like Cliff. Cliff went one way.
Right.
And it didn't go well for him.
No, it didn't.
I have questions about Jeremy with that.
Okay.
Or with Jeremiah Tillman.
Yeah.
That way.
No, that's fair.
But I do think if Konzo can get the most out of him, he's going to be a great player.
He could be really good.
He could be a really great player by his sophomore or junior year.
Absolutely. Just hope that he stinks in those Illinois games. Those Illinois-Missouri bragging rights games. I just hope he's horrible.
It's a lot of I'm really interested to see how he does in those games.
That will be
because some players could thrive in that.
Yep. Who was
Eric Gordon thrived in that, right? He had a phenomenal end of that game, including a banked-in three.
Oh, that thing.
But Jeremiah, does he have that?
Right.
I mean, Mark Smith outplayed him.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to a different team that's got a lot more talent than East St. Louis had around him, but it'll be interesting because I don't think Jeremiah Tillman's a given.
You know what's a good example of that? Who was the big man that played for Maryland that was from Wisconsin?
Diamond Stone.
And when he went back that freshman year to Wisconsin, he had his worst game in the Big Ten.
Yep.
Because Wisconsin fans were all over him. I'm not saying they were doing dirty things. They were all over him, and I'm sure the pressure for him, I mean, let's be honest, you're from Wisconsin. That's going to be a big game anyway. And he did not handle it well. So it'll be interesting to see if Jeremiah. Now, it's a little different because you're not playing it at a home. You're not playing it at Wisconsin or at Champaign. But, listen, there's going to be half that arena that are going to give
10,000 Illini
give
fans
him
there.
A lot of grief on that.
And that's what he did.
Yep.
He's made, Konzo's done it.
Well, sure.
But Jeremiah adds another level of this renewed Illinois-Mizzou rivalry.
Do you consider this Konzo beating Illinois for a recruit?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you consider Mark Smith, Brad Underwood beat Konzo Martin for a recruit, probably? Are we tied at one now going in the second?
I think he beat Tom Izzo, which is more important.
It's even better.
I think that's huge.
And Calipari.
Mizzou wanted in there. They couldn't get in there.
No. That's interesting.
So that's another thing.
Okay.
I'm going to find this thing really interesting. The Konzo
that's kind of what I mean.
Underwood thing.
Down the road.
It's going to be really interesting. I'd put more stock in Underwood, and I'm not trying to be a homer.
No.
It's just that he's produced. We've seen Konzo do this before.
Yes, we have.
We saw it at Cal.
Is Liddell the next kid that they're going to go head-to-head on?
They're hosting him for a visit this weekend.
Missouri is?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be
a huge one. That's a huge one.
He'll be a junior next year.
Yeah.
So a couple
2019 kid. That is the next big battle between Illinois and Mizzou.
This is going to be fun.
It's gotten interesting.
This is going to be fun. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. Why did somebody bring up Stan Simpson?
I think Jeremiah is a much more talented player at this point of his career than Stan Simpson ever was.
Who was Stan? I'm trying to remember. Is he the kid that played at John A. Logan?
Yeah, he's the kid you took. Bruce Weber took over Lewis Jackson.
That's right. Okay.
He needed the Chicago Public League kid.
I'm telling you, IlliniInquirer.com.
You basically did the right thing by saying, who's Stan Simpson? That's who he is.
IlliniInquirer.com. I'm telling you, sick Piper on this thing. Where are these kids now? All those recruits we went through the other day, the ones that didn't hit.
Well, they're not playing basketball.
Well, right, but I want to know where they're at now. I love reading that stuff.
Yeah,
like
there's a couple things I'm trying for.
Like Stan Simpson, he ended up here, and then I love reading. And I'm not saying to make fun of them. I just think that would be interesting as an article.
The guys who transferred out, we were talking about?
Just to kind of find out what happened after they transferred out and, what are they doing now?
He was a bench player for SIU. Devin Langford played Division II basketball.
Jim Day could not get on the court at SIU.
Mike Shaw could not get on the court for Bradley.
Bruce.
Thank you.
Hey, Rob Judson followed me on Twitter the other day.
Oh, good for you.
That's awesome, man. Rob Judson.
It's the Tay and J Show.
One of my bigger fellows.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
Our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month is Dan Ward, Senior Patrol Officer for the Champaign Police Department. You've just got a good read on people. You can sense the perceptive nature you have, Dan.
Thank you very much.
You love what you do.
I do. It's great. It is.
It's so fun to wake up and like what you do.
Yes.
And your family's all supportive and...
Of course, yeah. My wife, Bobby, she's great. When I take off in the middle of the night for some big call, great, love you. Call me when you're done.
Right.
So
be careful. Is she apprehensive at all?
Sure. And I think she, like you, is very defensive.
Yeah.
I'll come home and I'll tell her a story and she'll get mad and I'm like, honey, I'm not mad. And she'll get mad, so it's nice.
Okay, good. Okay, so my ranting and raving is okay? I mean, the police roll their eyes at me? I mean, you guys tired of me?
Never.
I'm going to do it till I'm done doing it. So
sounds good.
Dan, I really appreciate you and appreciate all that you do for Champaign Police.
Thank you very much.
Brought to you by SK Exteriors. Their website, callsktoday.com.
Yo, everybody get up! Everybody get up! Everybody needs to understand that I'm more than simply a hype man for this rap group, just like Geico is more than just a company that can save you money. Geico also has fast and friendly claim service, so they can help you when you need it most. And while I do love being a hype man, I also love reading for children's audiobooks. Like Little Bo Peep, she lost the sheep, and she don't know where to find them. Yo!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Mosquitoes can be a nuisance, and after a mild winter like we had, they're even worse. Let Prairie View Landscaping get rid of those pesky mosquitoes so you can enjoy the summer outdoors without bugs getting in the way. And since it's Prairie View Landscaping's 25th year in business, they're celebrating by offering up to 25% off their mosquito program. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. mypvdiscount@gmail.com. And if you sign up by May 31st, you can win 2 free mosquito control applications out of 4. Prairie View Landscaping. mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
Get new carpet for less during the National Flooring Extravaganza going on now at Flooring Surfaces in Champaign. Soft and luxurious carpets are on sale with a free upgrade to Stainmaster Plus Deluxe Carpet Cushion. In fact, get a free padding upgrade with every style made from premium Infinity Nylon, Anso Nylon, or Stainmaster Nylon. And Flooring Surfaces can measure, design, and offer professional installation service for any size project. So get your new carpet now at Flooring Surfaces during the National Flooring Extravaganza, 401 East Mercury Drive in Champaign.
Willow Pond Golf Course in Rantoul is the most improved in Central Illinois. They had a great preseason, and all this month they're celebrating you with great customer appreciation rates. Play around Monday through Friday for just $25, and seniors get a low rate of just $20. Golf Saturday and Sunday for just $30, and all packages include a cart. Enjoy their full-service bar and grill, the 19th hole, serving up great food and drinks, plus live video gaming and the full swing simulator. Schedule a tee time, 893-9000 or willowpondgolf.com.
Your four-legged friends need protection too. Pet insurance from Pekin Insurance covers cats and dogs at least 6 weeks of age or older as an enhancement to your homeowner's coverage. Choose between $2,500 or $5,000 worth of coverage for a variety of pet health services. You can even take your pet to the veterinarian of your choice. Learn more at PekinInsurance.com or ask your local agent about how to protect your furry family members. For pet insurance that is beyond the expected, contact Pekin Insurance today.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business
business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
If you're a pro, you know that this is not efficient, because you know there's always a better way. There's also a better way to save. When pros buy in bulk at Lowe's, they save up to 30%. Up to 30% on the building supplies you use every day, like insulation and drywall, which is a better way to do business. So at Lowe's, buy more, save more. Visit the Pro Desk or LowesForPros.com for details. Minimum purchase required for discount, U.S. only.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
I'm going to taste that now the rest of the night.
I bought some Cheez-It Grooves with white cheddar. I like them.
I was drinking one night.
You and Harry did not like them. You guys want normal Cheez-Its. I went for something different, and that means I have them all to myself. So
well, there you go.
It's a family size.
I am right. You're going to be eating on those till December, till the bragging rights game. I had one night I was out doing a little party, and we decided to order a pizza at a bar. And without asking me, a couple buddies ordered a white cheddar pizza. And
I like those.
Do you? See, the white cheddar is just so strong to me. So I took one bite, and I'm
what do you have against white cheddar?
I do. I totally against all the white cheddar of the world.
You're good with the orange cheddar. What do you have against white cheddar?
Well, you know what I did? I ordered my own little pepperoni pizza, and I sat in the corner and I guarded it like a bulldog. Said, get away.
Too much division in this world, Lon.
Exactly, and I'm doing it. I'm playing right into it.
Speaking of,
yes,
I saved this topic for the last part of the show because I don't want to get into it that much.
Do you want Harry to join us on this one?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about this very much. That's why I'm bringing it up at the end of the show so we can get it out and move on with our lives.
Let's move
on. Chicago Tribune Shannon Ryan talked with Josh Whitman, who was at the AD meetings this week in Chicago. She has a bunch of topics you can find on the Chicago Tribune website. But the last topic she brings up is the new mascot. Of course, this was brought up at the Student Senate meeting, I believe. And here's what he had to say about creating a new mascot at Illinois. To me, the goal is a unified campus, a campus that can stand behind the University of Illinois and the Fighting Illini athletic program and feel good about who we are and what we represent. I've been around the campus for a long time, and the mascot issue, the chief issue, if you will, has been a very challenging topic basically from my first day on campus. I think it's something that creates tremendous amount of tension and creates a lot of time spent from people like me that could be spent in other ways. The ultimate goal is the idea of campus unity, and there's no question if we ultimately get to the place, it would yield some operational efficiency for the university that we're not able to recognize right now.
Josh Whitman's so good that when he talks, by the end of it, first of all, he said nothing, and you're so confused, you're just like, all right.
Whether there's a timeline for naming a new mascot, Whitman said that's a question for the chancellor's office. It's beyond the scope of the athletic department. We're a willing participant and want to be a contributor of that effort.
Okay.
I can be, you know how they got the Obama translator?
Yeah, right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was Angry Obama or whatever on Key and Peele.
Be that guy.
He has no interest in a new mascot.
Zero.
He doesn't want to deal with this.
Nope. He's got plenty to do, and he doesn't want his name on that.
I think he has no interest in bringing the chief back on.
I don't either.
Because he doesn't want to deal with that headache.
Nope, he doesn't. He doesn't.
In 30 years, when the ardent chief supporters are gone,
right,
I think they'll probably have a new mascot at some point.
That's probably true.
You can't do it right now.
Yep.
I mean, it's too divisive. And I totally agree with I think at some point, there's a discussion about when you move on.
Yeah.
It's not worth it at this point for Illinois, the chancellor.
Nope.
I don't think the new chancellor has any interest in this either. So the students are going to push this, and we talked to a couple of them who are pushing it.
Yeah.
Because they don't really know the chief.
Right.
It's part of Illinois' history, and that's why there's so many ardent supporters of it.
Sure.
I don't think the university or the athletic department at this point, the new leadership, has any interest in it. It's only going to create more division when they need to unify.
They do.
And right now, unity is not brought about with the chief. It's not brought up with the new mascot.
Nope.
It's that in-between time.
Yep.
Whether that's 30, 60 years from now, I think there will be a new mascot at some point.
It's interesting to think about.
But I don't think now is the time to do it. I don't think it's worth it.
Squirrels are cute, though. Squirrels are cute.
Sassy's pretty cool.
I mean, come on. They're kind of cute. All right, we want to thank Mike Claiborne, KMOX Cardinal broadcast crew. He joined us to talk Cardinals. Also, Sahadev Sharma from The Athletic joined us to talk Cubbies.
Also, thanks to Illini tennis coach Brad Dancer. Tomorrow we'll have some Illini softball players in studio. If you missed any of the show today, get our podcast at ESPNCU.com.
I am going to have Taylor Edwards pitch to me, and I'm going to take her yard.
Nice. Or find us on iTunes. It's all powered by GTPS Insurance. Thanks to Harry Black for the delicious pecan brownie thingy.
Oh, I'm going to steal some on my way out.
You want my cheese at Grooves with white cheddar?
Stinking Grooves. Tay and J Show.
If you're a pro, you know that this is not efficient because you know there's always a better way. There's also a better way to save. When pros buy in bulk at Lowe's, they save up to 30%. Up to 30% on the building supplies you use every day, like insulation and drywall, which is a better way to do business. So at Lowe's, buy more, save more. Visit the Pro Desk or LowesForPros.com for details. Minimum purchase required for discount, U.S. only.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
Hey, this is Brad again with Kramer Siding and Window Company, and for over 60 years, we've been providing worry-free home improvements. If you've thought about either siding, windows, maybe you need to replace that roof, how about a deck, a pergola, awnings? We also have the four-season sunrooms and screen rooms, or the gutter helmet. If any of those home improvements are in your near future, call us right now at Kramer Siding or stop by our beautiful showroom at 708 North Country Fair Drive.
The party's on. The legendary voice of Motley Crue, Vince Neil. Performing all your favorite Motley Crue hits. Saturday night, May 20th at 8 at Effingham Performance Center. Vince Neil live. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, the UPC box office, or phone. Give it a kickstart with Vince Neil live.
Hey, it's Stephanie Pratt with Coldwell Banker, the Real Estate Group. I want you to rock out with me on Saturday, May 20th at the Effingham Performance Center to the legendary Vince Neil, the voice of Motley Crue. We're going to rock out to all your favorite Crue hits, and we'll get a limo down and back with Dwayne at Bishop Platinum Limousine. Go to ESPNCU.com and sign up to win tickets today.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscaloosa.